Hello, how are you? Good evening, afternoon, morning, or night, or whatever the time of the day it is for you. We are back to finish what we started with the Metal Gear Solid 4 stuff, reluctantly. At time of recording, Jesus, how long is it since we did part 1? Probably
A lifetime ago, I'd say, at this stage.
yeah, given my upload schedule, it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was 6 months to a year ago.
Let's take an old peek just to see. It was just a tip 3 months ago. That's not too bad.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I suppose at time of recording, that's we're recording it 3 months later. When I get it edited and released, it's another story.
Merry Christmas, everyone! Let's go.
Happy 2027. Yeah, what was I going to say? I said, look, fuck it. The last one has been out for 3 months and it hasn't cleared 1,000 views. I'm not quite sure whether to attribute that to the fact that my upload schedule is so diabolical, or do people not give a damn. But I also don't give a damn, and I want to finish what we started with this so we can move on to other stuff. We've discussed doing other things, and I'm actually blue in the face. I'm talking about this game. We've only done one episode of it, but that's enough.
We've actually done more talking about it off the podcast than we have on the podcast, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you procrastinate because you don't want to do it. But I said, look, fuck it. For the 3 people out there that may or may not give a damn, we'll finish it and finish ripping this game to shreds as it deserves. So the impetus for making these was, well, we made a series on the first 3 games, the 3 good ones, and now Metal Gear Solid 4 is being re-released at the end of the summer in August sometime.
That's right.
So I said, right, fuck it. While MGS 4 is in the minds of people for that reason, we'll piss on everyone's parade before the game is let out of the PS3 quarantine that it's been in for the last 18 years. So with that, over to you, Ben. What's your 2 cents in the matter?
I don't like it.
Yeah, okay. Neither do I.
Yeah. I suppose to kind of draw back to the point of the upload schedule, we're going to piss on people's parade. I'd say contextually, by the time this releases, it might be at the same time Volume 2 drops. It might be
maybe.
It could do it. You get a real splash. Maybe. You get a real splash then, lads. I tell you that.
Yeah, and just a side caveat. Since the last time we recorded that podcast, however long ago that was now, because I know it was released 3 months ago, but we might have recorded it a month before that. I don't know how quickly I got to editing that one. In any case,
look, we are going to tear straight into this one anyway, because we don't want to draw this out to like a 6-part series, because it's, like I said, it's been haunting us outside the podcast, let alone in it. So we're going to
Look, so if we get Metal Gear Solid 4 wrapped up and put to bed, put a bullet in the back of its skull once and for all, and we can move on to other things.
Just like
myself and Benny,
Godfather 2 Fido, bring him out to the pub on the lake and just fucking shoot him. Oh, please do an edit of just like him. Just put like the copy of the game on Fido. It's getting shot. Look. We don't want to teeter off, so I think we're gonna tear straight into it to pick up where we left off.
A relevant caveat.
Alright.
So, in the time since we made the last one, in the time between now and then, you've actually started streaming, and you've had a little thing going there with the old stream.
Aye.
And the reason that I bring that up is I'm tempted. When the new release comes out, I'm tempted to stream that myself and just to go along, just tearing shreds out of it as I go, just for fun. Maybe
a pure and utter self-punishment, like just you're a glutton for punishment.
maybe do a bit of drinking as I'm doing it, and have a bit of a breakdown.
Don't tell Twitch that, because they're very babyish about that. Say you're drinking water. and you'll be fine.
Yeah, okay.
Something
Yeah, but in any case, that's something that's on the cards.
Mm.
So maybe.
We should definitely do the first one as well. People love that.
Yeah, and rightly so. It's fucking fantastic. It's a flawless game. But I would like to do the first 3 on stream. Maybe that would be cool. In an ideal world, we'd put this to bed tonight, but there's a lot of crap in it.
We will.
And
We won't. Well, look, we'll go where we go to, and we'll cover what we need to cover. But we will try to kind of keep the boom, 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 keep it kind of momentum running without, caveating too much. But
yeah,
shall we go tear straight into?
I spent all day today playing this game. I played the tail end of chapter 1, and I did the entirety of chapter 2. So the first chapter, as we know, is set in the Middle East. Like, I was half thinking of calling this episode, Metal Gear Solid Cringe of the Patriots, because it's just relentlessly cringy. Even the way that they set stuff up. In the time between Metal Gear 2 and Metal Gear Solid 4, Hal or Otacon rather, and Snake, they've become this gay married couple, and they've adopted this little girl. And you've got all these cutesy shenanigans on board a plane where they're jet setting around the world like a modern day family, which, there's nothing inherently wrong with families like that, but it's such a departure from who these characters were in prior entries to put them in this scenario was just so
like some fucking
I don't know,
Hanna-Barbera cartoon or something that turned into.
I think it kind of comes back to the whole point that Kojima was trying to make with these, where he's kind of going, like he wanted out of the series, so he was like, if we keep on iterating on this further, it's just going to get more and more silly. If his intent was to kind of go, look, if we keep coming back to the well here with these characters, it's going to get more and more contrived and more nonsensical. And that's fair enough. But the extent to which it goes, any attempt to earnestly tell a good story just goes straight out the fucking window as the game goes on. But you've got that crap, you've got the really bad explanations to things, these really poor faith kind of oh, who are the Patriots? Oh, it's the entire cast of Metal Gear Solid 3, that's who the Patriots are. How does that make sense? Don't worry about it.
It just
does. Just go along with it.
I think we've raised already that this game makes the mistake of basically destroying all the mystery and mystique of the previous entries and trying to answer everything, and in doing so, just ruins everything. And the point one of the main points we're going to cover is, I think it's specifically in this act, is Vamp. His whole character in 2 is just oh, who is this fella? This dancy, flamboyant little guy. He's sucking lads off as he does. Is he a vampire? Is he something else? Yada yada. It doesn't specify or clarify. This one is oh, it's just nanomachines. Everything's nanomachines. It's oh,
yeah, that's
great.
That's it. All the retcons as well. They retroactively decide stuff. There was never a need to explain certain things in these games. In the first game, nobody ever made any attempt to explain away stuff like Psycho Mantis or Decoy Octopus, how he could drain someone's blood, take it into himself, and become them. There was never any attempt made at explaining that away. But this game, for some reason, feels the need to explain away everything once and for all, when you could have just let that hang ambiguously there. Nobody was asking, why does Psycho Mantis have any powers? Or nobody was asking, why is Vamp a vampire? It's self-evident. Vamp is a vampire because he's a fucking vampire. Just go along with it. That was something that I always liked about the early games. The same thing with the Cobra unit. Some of them had supernatural abilities or superhuman abilities even, and no one was ever worried about why. The fact of the matter was, there's psychic lads and there's vampires and there's fellas who have been incinerated going into space and fly around now with a jetpack and a flamethrower.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, there's a photosynthetic sniper who's 150 years old or whatever the fuck age he is. But for some reason, it was as if I don't know.
They do retcon that them in 5, don't they? I just remembered, yeah.
They do. They retcon it in 5, but at least it's just endless retconnings with Kojima. The biggest retcon in this game is how they decided in the time since Metal Gear Solid 2, oh, you know what? Having Ocelot possessed by the ghost of Liquid Snake via Liquid's arm that's been grafted onto him, that's actually a bad idea. So let's retcon that.
But I live on through this arm!
So in the time in between, he's decided, oh, actually, that was a terrible idea. We should have never done it day one.
Ouch! Get out of my mind, Liquid!
Whether or not you like that idea from Metal Gear Solid 2, that, you know, Liquid was possessed by the severed arm of Liquid Snake, whether you like that or not is kind of neither here nor there. It kind of shows that there's no conviction. There is no conviction when it comes to, like, it seems he's not certain of his own ideas. And, you know, only when the dust is settled and the game is actually out and people are playing it, does he kind of go, actually, that was a bad idea. Where whether or not you like that idea, the fact that we had it in the last game in the timeline and now we don't, and now we lose, like, say, a performance from Cam Clark as the voice of Liquid Snake, who doesn't appear in this game except for in like little sound bites that are taken from the first game and played back. Like, for instance, I seen it today because when I'm playing this game now, I choose violence every time because that's the mood it puts me in. I don't want to play it stealthily because I don't like it and I want to just, you know, riddle everyone. And if you kill enough people, he hears the soundbite in his head where he hears Liquid from the first game going,
"You enjoy all the killing, that's why."
You enjoy all the killing, that's why. And then Snake like throws up, because he's disgusted that he's proving Liquid right, and that in killing all these people, he is obeying his genes because he's the clone of the best soldier to ever live. So, like, killing is part of his nature. So the fact that he is living in accordance with that nature, a nature that he wants to deny, makes him sick. And that, in and of itself, is such a cool little idea.
He's not well. He's out of sorts.
Unfortunately, it is submerged in an ocean of shite.
Well, yeah, it's a point we made numerous times, and just to reiterate very quickly, there is good in this game, but it is submerged in shite. Lots and lots of shite.
Snake! You were smoking again, weren't you?
Act 1 recap. Accelerated aging.
What happened to your face?
He's not well.
Snake's fucking old.
Accelerated aging. They don't know the cause.
He's out of sorts.
Oh my god.
A year at best, right? Yeah.
This is really sad.
Akiba!
Commander!
Insufferable cunt.
Everybody just calls him Akiba.
What is your problem? Diarrhea.
I'm not done yet!
Insufferable cunt shits himself.
This is Rat Patrol Team 01. We're with the CID, one of the bodies investigating PMC activity.
Merry men or merry men.
I've put the past behind. I'm done playing little love games.
War economy.
War is to the 21st century what oil was to the 20th, the pillar that supports the global economy. We found him. In the Middle East.
What?
This mother company embodies the 5 largest PMCs. Her name is Outer Heaven.
Outer heaven. You mean?
That's right. It's Liquid.
Liquid cash.
Brother! It's been too long.
Liquid.
He's taken command of this immense army and is now preparing to unleash an insurrection.
I watched him die.
His will lives on, in the body of the man once known as Ocelot.
Pistol Pat.
He aims to fan the flames of war even higher, to create the perfect world once envisioned by Big Boss.
Who are you?
A strange man with a monkey.
Neither enemy nor friend. I'm a gun launderer. You can call me Drebin. Drebin?
Anyway, yeah, like to put a fine point on it. Anyways, that whole Middle East thing, the return of Merrill, all that kind of stuff.
Naomi.
Johnny shows up. The absolute cringe. The Lord of the Cringe himself. How he is front and center to the events of this game. He's stepped out of his lane from the comic relief character into a primary character who is instrumental to the plot. And that becomes more and more apparent as the game goes on. One thing that I had in my head today when I was playing through Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I remember at one stage there saying that the game is like trivially easy because of its design, how you can open menus and just whatever you need, buy whatever you need from Drebin's shop. You have that thing instantly. And like I was held up at certain points and I was just like gunning lads down for sport. There's no actual reason other than if you were trying to challenge yourself to like complete the game with no kills and no alerts. If that was what you were going for, okay, fine. You've got a little bit of a challenge on your hands there. But if you're just playing through this game, because of those systems, the game is like trivially easy. And there's a weapon that you can buy from Drebin's shop very early on in the game. It's at the M14E EBR or ERB, I can't quite remember, but it is a
rifle, is it?
A rifle that you can put a long range scope and a suppressor on. So this weapon is available in Chapter 1. As soon as you get access to Drebin's shop, you can buy it. And that game trivializes the rest of the game because there's no reason to equip anything else. It's an all-purpose gun. So the fact that you have, I don't know how many weapons are available to you, how many games they actually programmed into the game, but they're all useless because this is the only weapon that you need. There is no scenario that this can't carry you through because it's like semi-automatic, or you can switch to fully automatic. You've got your scope, you've got your silencer. There is literally no scenario that it can't carry you through in this game. It's just like, why even bother? Like, just in terms of like balance, it throws the game out of whack completely. But I equipped that gun, and sure enough, I just started like getting headshots left, right, and center, just cleaning house with fellas.
You enjoy all the killing, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I couldn't be arsed. Sure, I played it. I'm sure I tried to play it through. Like, I played all the other ones, and I've gotten no kills, no alerts, and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, that kind of really drives
numerous
home
times.
the point that the critique exceeds even just beyond the storytelling. Just the gameplay element, if you can basically break it immediately, there's no challenge. Whereas a weapon like that in the previous entries would have been something you had acquired late game, so it's more rewarding. But clearly, either didn't care, or they were just like, yeah, whatever, just...
Yeah, like the game, there isn't a gameplay loop in this game, which is the problem with it. Well, one of many problems with it, I should say. But once you have access to that M14 ERB or EBR, whatever it is, once you have access to that and you start gunning lads down left, right, and center, and they're dropping a weapon every time, and you're walking over the weapon and picking it up, it's automatically turning into Drebin points, and that's currency that you can spend in the Drebin shop. Which basically means anytime you open the menu now, whatever your heart desires, you can have it. There is no impetus to explore the maps, to search for weapons and resources. So exploration isn't really a thing. There is no incentive to explore, really. I think there might be some.
There's not
even much in the way of collectibles, really.
No, it's just a blank, empty, soulless environment with a couple of NPCs that are, it's just boring. There's no character to it at all. There's nothing memorable about any of those sections, bar maybe the annoyance.
At least with Metal Gear Solid 5, like, you can say, like, the story is incredibly lacking in Metal Gear Solid 5, but at least you can say the gameplay is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. The best it's ever been in a Metal Gear
fantastic.
game.
Like, that's a good example of what's called evolving with the gameplay. Like, if you start getting headshots late in the game, soldiers start adapting by wearing helmets, and then they start replicating your items and equipment, which is class. It's great. This has none of that. It's just straight shot linear shite. There's no challenge. There's no just on the base gameplay element, it fails as far as I'm concerned. And then they try to introduce like the camo system, and it's like, who cares? I can mold that's down 2 seconds. There's no challenge.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, I was playing it earlier on, and like I said, I was just gunning lads down. I wasn't playing it through stealthily or anything like that. It was a kind of a refresher for the brain before we started recording again. I was just shooting lads left, right, and centre, and the enemy AI in it is so absolutely fucking shit. Like, I was gunning lads down left, right, and centre, and next thing it transpired that there was a guy right behind me, an enemy soldier stood there right behind me, gun pointed at me, inexplicably not shooting. Actually, I'm sure I have I recorded all the clip in case I need to throw some of it over this podcast for the video component of it. So I'll throw in that little bitty in here. But like, the AI, I've no doubt, like, you know, it will be a bit probably quicker to fire on harder difficulty, but I shouldn't have to crank the difficulty up to fucking European extreme. So when a guy has me like fucking at point blank range with his rifle, he should be shooting at me, you know, but he's not. The gameplay is very easy, and it's kind of like, it's like corridors that you're just walking to. You have this that you're walking from cutscene to cutscene, and the gameplay in between is really hollow, and just by design is broken because there's just no incentive to go and explore. Like, remember in Metal Gear Solid 3, if you wanted to find uniforms and camo and weapons and items, you had to scour the map like inside out and find all these little nooks and crannies. And like, I remember back in the day, once some of the lads might have found a certain camo, and there was no internet at this stage, so it was like, oh Christ, where did you find that raindrop camo or whatever it was, whatever it might be? I'd be like, oh, that's in this place. And there was a bit of conversation. There was something to do in the game. All there is to do in this game is walk from cutscene to cutscene, and I would even be willing to forgive that if the cutscenes were good, but unfortunately they are not. And the thing, when I was playing this today, at one point I kind of said to myself, you know what, this isn't so bad. And next thing then I remembered, oh yeah, but this is literally as good as the game ever is. And after chapter 2, the middle of the road quality of chapter 1 and chapter 2 starts to decline steeply.
Act 2, Solid Sun. So they get the opening title card similar to Act 1. What does it mean? I don't know. People had multiple meanings. Who cares? Opens up with Sonny singing the Fibonacci sequence, which is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And she's making eggs because, sure, why not? That's her arc now. That's what she does.
That's the thing. Like, to come back again to the cringe factor in it. Sonny is like, you know, largely a big part of the cringe factor in this. Not all of it by a long stretch, but
I think she is an embarrassing addition and an abominable direction where they go with it. I can't even believe it's that kind of child genius thing that we were talking about on Ducky's thing.
Yeah, the child prodigy that, you know, for no reason as well as she's a child prodigy. She just so happens to be.
Oh no! They go into that. You see, she was kidnapped by the Patriots, so she grew up around the net. There you go. That's your explanation. Doesn't that satisfy you?
Yeah. All of Gen Z grew up around the fucking net, and I don't see many geniuses amongst them. So, you know, whatever. But in any case, the plot of this game requires that there be a child genius. So she's a child genius, and as the game goes on, some of the bigger plot elements are explained away by, oh, the child genius sorted it all out. So whatever about her character just being kind of out of step tonally with everyone else, this little kid who just wants to cook eggs for some reason isn't able to cook eggs for the majority of the game. For a finish, learns how to cook the eggs. And this is something that
God
the game
for
keeps.
that. That's her arc, you see.
Yeah, keeps. Yeah, that's you can fucking call it that. She is instrumental to solving the bigger problems that the plot presents, like these things that the world is in the grip of these AI super intelligences that are propagating themselves via information control and the war economy. Oh yeah, what's the solution to that? A 5-year-old who can't cook eggs. Oh, all right.
Completely robbing fucking Hal's arc. Like, it should have been him to drive the final fucking nail.
Yeah, he was.
But no, of course.
Totally supplanted by a child.
And someone
but
rather insignificant.
Look, that all comes down the line. I mean, I remember when I played this game first, because this was the first Metal Gear game that I didn't like, and I remember thinking to myself, I really don't like that this character is getting so much screen time and shares the screen with Snake and Atakan. But I had enough good faith at the time that Kojima's never let me down, so I'm going to have a bit of faith here that he's not. Yeah, that he's not going to let me down this time. But oh my god! And again, if this game brought something to the table, be it a good story and a satisfying conclusion, or gameplay that was some way enjoyable and well thought out and well designed, I could say at least I came away with something. But I just came away with profound depression. But in any case,
it still lingers to this day. It's exacerbated, in fact.
Yeah.
This is effectively your kind of therapy in such a way. You're tackling and confronting this trauma of the past.
Yeah, I hope through these podcasts I finally exorcise the demon that is fucking Metal Gear Solid 4, and hopefully by the time this is all said and done, I just won't have anything else left to say on the matter. I'll just be like,
you'll be like,
whatever.
You're gonna be like fucking the coyote when he kills the Roadrunner in that fucking skit. I got him. I killed son of a bitch.
Yeah, the best part of two decades. This has haunted me. This is just
But
yuck.
Just to bring it back. So basically, it says she's making eggs. Above the stove is a picture of Olga, because that's her mother or whatever. And that's referenced back.
That's fair enough. I thought Olga was a good enough character, and the fact that this character would have a photo of her, I'm like, oh yeah, fair enough, grand. Cool.
Why is the photo of her on the ship, which no one would have definitely taken? It's just like a screenshot from Metal Gear 2.
Yeah, that's it. That's one of these things that you just have to go along with. Yeah. And I am willing to extend a certain amount of good faith, but this game just keeps asking for more and more of that to an unreasonable degree.
Yeah. But
such is one of many problems with it. But yeah.
So Snake is conked out after the nanomachines. If you remember, at the end of Act 1, something went off and said all soldiers crazy except Johnny, which we'll come into later. So he's a bit conked out on top of the Nomad. Sonny brings down the eggs to try and entice him.
The two characters who are like the cringiest characters ever conceived by a human being are the two characters that are most instrumental to the resolution of the story in this game. And that is just the worst indictment ever. Like, even if you didn't find Johnny funny in his capacity as the comic relief in prior games, where it was just like, oh, there's your man shitting himself again, your man that always has diarrhea, it was so easy to just ignore it and to just kind of go, oh yeah, look, whatever, it's not important really, I can just look past it. But because this game has positioned these two characters front and center to the entire experience, you can't do that. And the game is constantly flogging you with these characters who just...
They also do something that is quite annoying in terms of a cliche with Johnny. You see a lot of time where he's an incompetent, bumbling idiot, but then at some point during it, he just becomes like a super soldier. It's like, all of a sudden he's got his shit together. It's like, what? When did this happen? Like, fuck off.
Yeah, he pulls off the mask and it turns out that he looks like a really handsome young Snake and it's like, my God, what are you trying to do?
I suppose
Do you know what it reminds me of?
Isn't it aren't they like the genome soldiers? Isn't that the kind of callback reference? Which I don't like it, but you know, isn't that what it's supposed to be?
Well, that wouldn't explain it away, because all the genome soldiers were soldiers that, you know, after the fact they had genes implanted into them, like artificially from Big Boss, just to make them more proficient as soldiers.
It wouldn't make them look like him, but is that what they were? This game was trying to do, or something?
No, because there wasn't any thought given to it. It was, by all accounts, because, you know, Kojima is a cinephile and all the rest. By all accounts, Kojima watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I've said this taking the piss, but it actually turns out no, this is a thing, where he watched the Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie and he loved it, even though it's fucking abysmal. But he decided that he wanted a Mr. and Mrs. Smith moment in this. So I guess in order to facilitate that, Johnny had to be handsome. So, you know, he kind of gave him Brad Pitt-esque looks and hair, so he could have that horrible scene in, like, the last act of the game where they're proposing marriage to one another and all this stuff. And Meryl, who previously hated him, has suddenly decided that he's divine. And the character, like, assassination at play, Meryl was always, like, the tomboy character. And she says at numerous times during the first game that she's received psychotherapy to destroy her interest in men, so as to make her more single-minded and to be a more proficient soldier. You can call that plot point into question and make whatever judgment, but it's neither here nor there. This game throws all that out the window, and in the first game, she's having a heart-to-heart with Snake, and she's like telling Snake, ever since I was a little kid, I always dreamed of being a soldier.
You know, I don't use makeup the way other women do. I hardly ever look at myself in the mirror. I've always despised that kind of woman. I always dreamed of becoming a soldier.
And in this game, she throws that out the window. She says, oh, ever since I was a little kid, I always dreamed of being a bride and having a big wedding.
And I want a real wedding, with flowers and a cake. It's been my dream since I was a little girl.
You are a liar.
I want to be a bride.
You are a liar.
Take me home, Johnny.
You are a liar. You are a self-confessed liar.
Oh, marry me, Johnny. And it's like the character's assassination that's at play, not alone for Meryl, but it, by extension, like, destroys Snake's character as well. I won't say destroys, but it's an insult to Snake, because the whole thing was Snake was such a Chad that he was able to break through whatever psychological conditioning that Meryl had, and Meryl fell for him because of that. Snake is like, you know, fucking...
a man, that's what he is. He's a fucking man.
Yeah. Snake is essentially the Achilles of this world. He is undeniable, and no amount of, like, psychotherapy can explain that away and can, like, dampen that. And such is the prowess of Solid Snake. But this game decides, because Johnny shit his pants, can do it just as well. It robs Snake of that achievement, and it kind of diminishes him. And as well as that, it's just more cringe that's occupying screen time and creating more onto the pile of, like, endless cutscenes. And again, I wouldn't have minded the endless cutscenes if they were good, but I don't want to see Meryl and Johnny's wedding, and I don't want to see their proposal sequence.
Why not?
Done.
It's so good. It's beautiful. It's a matrimony of two people.
Yeah, because I wasn't forcibly bounced off the floor on my head as a child.
By the way,
haven't acquired
this
a fucking
scene
brain in
is fucking juxtaposed to Snake going to shoot himself. I can't think of some more appropriate imagery to sum up this game than that. Like,
well, yeah, when all this is happening as well, Snake is just about to go into the big microwave that he goes into at the end of it, and Snake has been dying throughout the events of this entire game.
That's when they're doing the Mr. and Mrs. Smith shit, and then after that,
and then they're doing
the fucking wedding. He's in a fucking graveyard with a gun in his mouth. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, the game is beating you over the head with, this is the saddest thing ever. Look at poor Snake, he's dying. And, you know, minutes before you were witnessing, you know, oh, it's been my dream to be a bride ever since I was a little child. And you're like, no, it hasn't been. That's a lie. That's in complete and utter, like, discordance with everything you said in the first game. But the first game,
spread your lies all over the world, all over the Western
you've
world.
peddled your lies all over the world. You are a liar, and it's fuck
that's
me.
crap.
This
That's
game,
not crap.
You are a liar.
yeah, that is crap.
Look,
But
I'm sorry we're jumping the shark here because that's a little down the line, but it's
the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. It's fucking horrible.
It's so bad.
I was sat there in like horrific disbelief, and like I know there are people out there that agree with me on this, but the vocal majority of people who speak about this game, they never seem to like mention those bits and even call them into question, and they just kind of. No, I don't hear people praising those scenes.
I think if you went to YouTube and looked up that scene, I think there's actually people who comment saying this is probably my favorite scene. This is so cute. This is that. It's just like, oh my god, no. Of course,
yes,
it's just like
so cute. Like, I mean, this is the game that brings up like themes of being like child soldiers and all this kind of thing. And people who have these horrific backstories, like all the cast of the boss characters, they all have their own unique kind of a tragic backstory, and it's all about people who have known nothing, only constant conflict and all that kind of thing. And Snake, who was an artificial man who was created to do one thing, the same thing as his father, and just like kill. You've got the Cain and Abel story with him and his brother, who are diametrically opposed. One believing that your genes and your purpose is decided by your genes, and the other saying no, despite the fact that I am an artificial man created for one purpose, I'm going to deny that destiny, and I want to live as a free man. And you have all these like weighty, heavy kind of themes. The second one then. The whole information control kind of thing, calling into question the nature of reality. The second game is an existential nightmare and all this kind of stuff. And then to praise a scene that's so disjointed with all of that stuff, and not to mention all the events of 3, like the Cold War stuff, and
it's timeless, and nothing about this game has lasted. It's like nothing. There's nothing thematically about it, or prophetic, or philosophical that anyone's talking about at all. Nothing.
Yeah, it's like really cynical, poor, like bad will writing coupled with really hollow gameplay mechanics and not enough gameplay to boot. Like there is like the theme of this game, it's played out in the Shadow Moses section of the game, the whole theme of like entropy and things wearing out over time. And people often thought that was a part of this game, was Kojima making the point that the more we come back to this, the more like ridiculous it's going to get. And there's an argument to be made that all of that was by design. But like, fine. But if you made the game bad by design, well, you absolutely succeeded because it is bad. Like, and I don't know what other spin to put on that. It's a bad story, and the gameplay is just lacking severely. So
this game's bad.
I don't know.
Okay, it's not good.
It's a
it's a
horror.
It's a horror show. That's what it is. And we've
and look, once again, there's no attempt being made here by anybody to change anyone's mind. So if you like this, like, do not let me or anybody else dissuade you from the thing you like. Keep liking it. We're just doing this for fun.
It's fun to punish ourselves.
it's yeah. It's like how some people enjoy cutting themselves. That's kind of what this game is. This is kind of like self-harm of the soul for me. This is just...
Well, it could be cathartic by the end of it. We could see. Like I said, it could be a real exercise of an old demon of sorts. It could work.
Kind of, yeah. And the game wouldn't hurt me nearly as bad if it was just start to finish bad. But then it pulls certain things out of the hat, like the fight towards the end with Ocelot. And like, I remember one time I was playing the game, and a friend of mine who hadn't played it, he was with me, and I was like basically showing him, because he was like, I have no interest in playing it, so you just play it and I'll watch it. Because I was telling him how bad it was, and he wasn't, like, he couldn't fully grasp how bad it was. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. So he didn't have a PS3. This is during the PS3, Xbox 360 generation. So I stuck it on, and yeah, needless to say, he was bewildered by some of the shit in it. But then once we got to the bit where you fight Metal Gear Ray in a Metal Gear Rex, and he knows my affinity for, you know, likes of Evangelion and stuff, and my fondness for like Japanese mechs and all that kind of thing, and he was like, did you like that part? And then like me really begrudgingly, I was just sat there and I was like, yes. I was just like really fucking pissed off that I had to concede ground. I was like, okay, how you got there was terrible, but the destination was pretty nice. I can't lie about that. Even though I've never lost that fight once, it kind of is like an interactive cutscene. There's no real challenge to it, but for what it is, it's well designed,
It's just
and
fun.
it's a really
Yeah.
it's a really nice spectacle, and it's really heavy-handed fan service. But I can't deny that moment in and of itself, like just isolated from all the shit that follows it and precedes it. It's a great moment, much like the fight at the very end with Liquid Ocelot on top of Outer Haven. Like, how you got there was the worst thing I've ever seen. But now that we're here, and these two old soldiers, essentially like the phantom of, you know, the hostile brother.
Well, it kind
Kane.
of technically was it when I came with like it's probably the best part in the game for me. I think, to be honest, it's just baiting his health down to. He starts off as Liquid, doesn't he? Then Liquid Ocelot. Then I think just Ocelot. Is that correct?
Yeah, it goes through. It uses a piece of the soundtrack from each game, from like the first game, second game, third game, and then it falls back onto music from this game, and then you finish the fight. Like, how they
doesn't
got
that technically
there
use the soundtrack? So that we said it was omitted.
Huh?
It does not. Isn't that the theme of the first one? So the battle music.
The only piece of music that they weren't allowed to use from the first game was the theme song, the Metal Gear theme song. So what they use when you're fighting Ocelot, I think it's maybe just like the encounter music. I think the track is called Encounter. I'm not entirely sure.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
It's an original piece of music that they composed completely for that game, and there is no conflict of interest insofar as the copyright is concerned. So they use a piece of music from each game to signify that he's representing that game in the fight. And not to mention, like, the cutscenes that bookend that fight are really well choreographed, and the usage of music is unbelievable. And just the visual storytelling of, like, you've got the hostile brothers here at the end of all things. The war is over, and even like Liquid says it, he's like, the war is over, but
we are
still
not
have a
yet
score
finished.
to settle. Yeah, there, and even though, like, say the whole thing with Meryl getting with Johnny, I think is the worst thing in the world. But I would have, if I could magically change things, I would have had it that, like, once Meryl appeared in this game, that she would have maybe married someone else in, like, off screen, and that was I wouldn't have ever rekindled that romance, but I would have, like, included that whole kind of thing of everyone else has moved on with their lives, and here at the end of all things, all that either of these men have is their rivalry with one another. And because of that, they're kind of like one soul occupying two bodies. And at the end of all things, all they have is flogging the snot out of each other as the sun sets. And there's something so, like, unbelievably poignant about that that's just fucking excellent. And I cannot deny it. It's everything that precedes it and follows it that just turns my stomach. So, yeah, look, there's just... It wouldn't have upset me nearly as bad if the game was just consistently terrible throughout.
But one of the things as well that has a good, or at least it sets something up that's great, is in this act with Naomi, which we'll get to now. We'll kind of reel it back to the Nomad. Basically, yeah, well, just to kind of touch on it as we're going to get there eventually, but it sets up a direction to add more misery on top of misery onto an already dying Snake, which is his fox die basically multiplying out of control, or it's mutating, and now it's beginning to target people indiscriminately. So now, on top of the fact that the poor old bastard is dying, he's now a weapon, one of the things he swore to kind of destroy. So it sets up this
Yeah,
brilliant thing, which it doesn't follow through with, of course, at all. But we'll get to that.
Like the amount of Deus Ex Machinas that explain away the best written plot points of the game is just fucking horrendous. One of this game's many cardinal sins. Yeah, that plot point I thought was amazing because he gets the revelation that like he thinks at the start of the game that he's suffering from some illness with the accelerated aging, but then it transpires that no, because of your nature as a clone, as an artificial man, you were designed to have a shortened lifespan and your ability to reproduce was removed. So as Big Boss's DNA wouldn't fall into the hands of enemies, you aren't sick as such. This is your natural lifespan. So there's no cure to this. This is fundamental to the nucleus of what you are, and you're dying. And then the irony is that you've spent your entire life fighting weapons of mass destruction. And even though you're going to only be able to survive for another 6 months, in 3 months' time, the fox dye that was injected into you in the first game, that is breaking down alongside Snake, alongside its host, and becoming indiscriminate. It no longer targets people with a certain genetic code, but it will now target everyone. So unless he dies in 3 months, he himself will become a weapon, a walking weapon of mass destruction. And that idea is brilliant. It is such a poignantly ironic, class example of Kojima when he actually does something right. It doesn't go anywhere.
No.
It's just explained away, just hand waved away.
Shoots himself on the foot. It's terrible. I can't believe it. It was just like a pure gut punch on top of a gut punch. And the thing is, it only added to the kind of tonal inconsistency of like, here's a dying man already that you're familiar with. Now he has only realistically 3 months to live.
3 months to live, yeah,
and
before he has to put a gun in his mouth and end it.
It's followed by just lunacy. But we'll get to that. Yeah, so we're in the Nomad. Snake's conk out after the whole nanomachines. Sonny's trying to push her feckin' eggs, and what's the line Snake says? I don't remember the sun being so flat. Commenting on Sonny's shitty eggs.
Yeah. So yeah, we're getting the whole kind of look, Snake and Atacon are.
Yeah, so he recounts his body seizing up. Hal says the same about the other soldiers whose hearts simply stopped. Naomi sent a video mail to Hal. Snake declines the eggs politely, and then he strikes up a fag. Good man yourself. And she says, "You're not watching your nicotine intake." And it's like, fuck off my ship, will you? Get out. You're being dropped off the next stop. Yeah. Liquid's goal.
Get your bag and baggage.
And fuck her. Liquid's goal is to seize the SOP system, as Naomi says. The 3rd gen nanos derived from the 1st gen, which is Fox dye, which she jabbed in the Snake 9 years ago. Trump. Naomi sends location via encrypted file cracked by Sonny, because of course, the child genius. It's not Hal, the guy who's been with you from the word go and been on the tech side of things. No, it's the child. Why not?
Yes, the career fucking tech genius. No, the 5-year-old. The 5-year-old has sussed it out where he couldn't.
Then
she did what he could not.
Yeah. And then there's a passing comment saying, mailing will help from Hawaii, provides satellite imagery help with the mission, commands an old ship. So after the events of the first one, people were kind of grounded and arrested, and I think they just kind of put her on a side duty. So she kind of comes back into the story here. Sonny continues to speak without permission, little shit. Call from Campbell.
Yeah.
Rose is in the background. So Rose, if you remember from Metal Gear Solid 2, is hanging around Campbell's gaff. So there was brief mention of Merrill saying that, oh, did you hear he's with a young one now? About my age. And we're like, fair play to him. So it turns out that woman...
Fair play to the player involved and all who cross his path.
Hey, if there's grass...
Roy the boy Campbell.
Roy the boy. Snake, if there's grass on the pitch.
Snake, you wouldn't buy a car with high mileage.
So it's Liquid is the one who broke Naomi out after arrest after Shadow Moses. Cutscene and all is about 10 minutes long, just to give you an idea of that fucking kind of thing. You drop into South America. It's unspecified location once again. There's no real... Yeah, like we've kind of covered that. Snake recounts the data they got from Arsenal Gear. 12 founders dead for 100 years. So that's how... That was pretty much the ending of 2. Where you find out...
Yeah, and at the time, he never intended on following that up, which would have been the right thing to do. But now we have to go back to the well on that because people were demanding answers.
Yeah.
And I understand his frustration on that. Well, why do you need answers to all this kind of shit? But his response to give the most cynical answers that he could possibly conceive of was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just in poor taste. But anyway, people don't seem to be overly bothered by it, but whatever.
The question is more pertinent than the answer, lads, for God's sake. What's in the briefcase in Pulp Fiction? You don't know.
Yeah.
That's why we're still asking to this day.
Did the little spinning top thing at the end of Inception, did that signify that the events that you just witnessed were real or no? You know?
That's what the world is full of, lads. Answers. Easily digestible answers. Everything's answerable. The end. Don't question things. Don't draw them. Just, But Snake believes that they're still around for some reason or another. Liquid has taken up Big Boss's cause. So that's the whole kind of thing, is that he wants to create Big Boss's ideal kind of world where there's a place for a soldier.
Outer heaven, yeah, where there will always be a place for warriors.
Where
there will be perpetual war.
An age of persistent universal warfare. A world where mercenaries are free from domination. BB's outer heaven a reality. Campbell says Liquid is a slave to the Patriots, forced to fight their proxy wars. Snake says that the only way to truly be free is to stop Liquid and destroy the system. And here's a thing now I want to point out, which is what Campbell says. Campbell says destroying the system also destroys the information society entering modern civilization. So it's a double-edged sword. You free yourself, you're essentially destroying the foundation of the world, because they literally control pretty much everything.
That was alluded to in Metal Gear Solid 2 once the President Johnson, he basically says, could you imagine, or was it him or was it Richard Ames? It was one of the two of them who says this at one point.
I think it was the President. I think
it was either him or it was Richard Ames. I can't remember, but one of the characters says something to the effect of, could you imagine what would happen if they ceased to exist? Like, imagine global panic, chaos. It would be the end of the world, essentially, because the world, they're so deeply entrenched into everything. If they were to just disappear, everything would fall apart from the seams. And this has been brought up again now, and it's actually, I'm delighted that you honed in on that point.
Like it's
because that's something else that's hand waved away by the magic child.
Oh God! Like once again, it throws in a pointer of just like, look, this ain't black and white. Like, what you want comes with great consequences.
Sacrifice, yeah. And that's another thing that really bothers me about this game as well. This is the final act of the story. There should have been more sacrificial lambs along the way, but there wasn't, because the game is gutless. The game is really, really gutless. It seemingly kills off characters at certain points only to renege on it. And, like, you know, it just feels like it wasn't willing. Like, it was half-heartedly signing off, but I wonder, was it the case that in the back of Kojima's head somewhere, did he know that he was going to come back to the well again at this point? Or some people will say, oh, he knew that Konami would never allow him to make anything other than Metal Gear games, so he was leaving the door open for himself, maybe. But in any case, for whatever the reason...
It's all up in the air. Who fucking knows?
For whatever the reason is, the characters that it kills off and the manner in which it kills them off is just like silly for one thing and largely inconsequential. And to get to the end of the game and for there have to been no meaningful sacrifices along the way, like even, okay, I'm going to spoil it for anyone who, I'm going to jump the gun, they don't even kill Snake off for a finish. They allude to the fact that he's still going to die, but he doesn't die on screen.
Yeah, if we're jumping the gun and going straight to that, they should have. That, I mean, you know, cut out the wedding. Cut out the wedding part first, but it should have zoomed out and it just had like just a pop and just see him topple over in front of the grave, like one final sacrifice with the knowledge, knowing that he is now the weapon that needs to be destroyed. Like, that would have been an absolute gut punch, like heroic sacrifice. But they don't do that.
Yeah, like in the same way that Metal Gear Solid 3 ends with a massive gut punch. I mean, that's the manner in which, if you truly intended this to be the end of that particular story, there needed to be an emotional gut punch at the end, even greater than that. It didn't necessarily have to be characters dying, but there needed to be some type of consequence to having done the thing that they done. Maybe the world was plunged into chaos and it was a huge question mark as to, were we going to survive this, or do we have enough good faith in humanity to be able to organize in such a way that we won't all just kill each other in the wake of, you know, our AI overlords. Oi.
Mop tip.
Hand tip, right? If there wasn't, like, you know, some consequence to just deleting them out of existence, but seemingly no. They kill off Naomi at one point, and it's just fucking.
Well, she just lets herself die. Apparently, she has. What's revealed later in this chapter is that she has cancer, and what's the remedy for that? It's nanomachines. It's always nanomachines. Nanomachines.
And she arbitrarily decides at one point that the nanomachines can't do any more for her, despite the fact they've been keeping her alive perfectly well, and she herself willingly deactivates them in the most inconvenient moment ever, as the bunker in Shadow Moses is collapsing and everything is blowing up, and it's like, okay, Naomi, I get it that, you know, you wanted to give up and die and all the rest, but did you have to do it right now? Because you willingly turned off your own nanomachines, and we're in dire straits right now. I mean, did you have to do this now?
Yeah,
and it's just really poorly conceived, shit, horrible, cringe-worthy yuck. That's the type of character death that you get in this. And when you think back to character deaths from prior games, like, we'll just go to the biggest and best of them, like the boss and that whole thing, and the revelation that follows and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm looking at this shit.
Yeah, load of trash.
But there was supposedly a plan. Kojima, his planned ending was supposedly Snake and Otacon being executed by a firing squad because they were being done for war crimes in the wake of all of this. And apparently he was vetoed against doing it. And apparently Konami wouldn't allow him to kill off Snake for sure.
Future sequel kind of shit.
I don't know how true that is, but I've heard that before. But in any case, regardless of who was responsible for it, it's fairly unsatisfying.
They set up so much and they just fumbled it. All these spinning plates, couldn't figure out how to take them down. They just kept adding more and more, and they all just came crashing. But back to that.
Then after that, I'll just say this little bit and I'll stop.
You'll go.
But after that, then you get something that on paper is a really nice idea, like Big Boss somehow still being alive and having that conversation with Snake by the graveyard, which is in and of itself brilliant, which is great. There's something so poignant about it, but it's how they got there and then what that facilitates. So that facilitates basically like an hour and a half worth of retconning the entire game to basically hammer and crowbar in all the events of the prior games into an explanation that is ultimately asinine. And
this is ridiculous.
You know, so it sours. I love the idea of, like, I don't know how fair it was to just contrive a scenario by which he was still alive somehow. But regardless of that, much like the fight with Metal Gear Rex and Metal Gear Ray, and the fight with Liquid Ocelot on top of Outer Haven, the moment in and of itself is something that I really appreciate. And the bit of a conversation they have, and how when Big Boss is dying from the new Fox dye that was injected into Snake at some point, more fucking contrivance, that's killing him. But even as he's dying, and he's basically going on about how he's actually been like walking around the place a dead man since the day that he killed the boss, and how that moment ultimately broke him. And he fundamentally died inside since the moment that he did that. And just the call back to the last game was so poignant and so great. And even like he's saying to Snake, you know, oh, I never thought of you as a son, but I always respected you as a soldier. And then he's dying, and they're sat there, and like he goes to have one last cigar, but he can't even lift it to his mouth. He's so weak. And Snake picks it up and puts it in his mouth and lights it. And they have the whole kind of thing. And Big Boss's last words, he looks to his son, his clone son, and he goes, "This is good, isn't it?" And then,
isn't it?
And then he dies. And that moment is just like so poignantly fucking beautiful. And it would have meant a whole hell of a lot more if I didn't have to watch Meryl and Johnny's wedding right before it. Or, you know, I didn't have to witness the events of all the games being like fucking rammed together to contrive a horrendous explanation for all the things that should never have been explained. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't appreciate these brilliant little moments, these moments of just pure gold.
No, you can't.
Because I had to wade through an ocean of shit to get there. Jesus Christ.
Completely teetering off there, but for some reason that whole scene between Snake and Big Boss reminded me of that quote from Rorschach. It's like, is this what happens to us? A life of conflict with no time for friends. So that when it's done, only our enemies leave roses.
Yeah. And that calls back to Snake and Liquid fighting on top of Outer Haven. Like, everyone to some degree or another has a life to go back to, but not these two men. And at the end of, like, even some people point to the moment where Ocelot can, like, kiss Snake on the cheek as being camp, or, you know, they construe it as being like gay baiting or something like that, where it's not. It's a fundamental understanding and recognition between these two men that at the end of all things, all they have is each other, despite the fact they're sworn enemies, philosophically, like, opposed on every fucking level. But at the end, who is Snake dancing with as the sun sets? Fucking Liquid. Where's Meryl? She's off marrying the Brad Pitt lookalike that shits himself. You know, this is a...
Nah, it's pretty gay.
There's something...
It's pretty...
Yeah, well, there's something fucking poignant about that. That's why I would have always retained Meryl having off-screen married someone else and moved on with her life, because I think there's something so poignant about the notion. Like, there's something so inherently intrinsic to the masculine experience of life that is, at the end of all things, here I am with my fucking rival just punching it out as the sun sets. And there's something so archetypically poignant about that notion, because, you know, even like good friends of mine who they were family men for a long time, good number of them now are like kind of divorced and all this kind of thing. And, you know, ultimately the till death do us part wasn't that, but at the end of all things, who was there with you? Your diametrically opposed brother who's the same as what you are. And even though all you've ever known is conflict, you know, that's enough. And there's something so fucking, like, just, I you know, if I weren't dead inside myself, I could nearly shed a tear. But again, if you didn't bury it in a massive trough of shit, it would be so much easier to just love it unabashedly.
But
you know.
the full quote on that is, "This is it, brother, our final moment. The battle has ended, but we are not yet free. The war is over, but you and I still have a score to settle. Show me what you've got, Snake."
Yeah, jeez. And even, like, as the fight has been going on for ages and that fucking music breaks in, the kind of and they're two fucking two owl lads pucking the snot out of each other as the sun sets on the world.
Like, the music
after
is
all...
great, but I think once the Snake eater hit, I just melted. I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah. So this is like the brilliance that is ultimately the heartbreak in all of it, because those moments are so unbelievably good. But, you know,
anyway,
why did I have to be like, Snake goes through a microwave tunnel in this game, but I think the game in and of itself is the microwave tunnel. Like, start to finish, I felt much like Snake trying to drag myself through the fucking tunnel in the hopes of a happily ever after at the fucking end of it all. But well, that was never going to happen.
We'll see. You're still going through it. You're still going through it technically.
Yeah. Maybe that's the point of this game. You know, maybe this game is, you know, the real microwave tunnel is the game, and your act of trying to play through this abominable piece of shit is akin to Snake's journey of, you know, suffering
filling
and
you
hardship
with radiation,
conflict.
Playing this game. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah,
get radiation
irradiating me in a way that would still be fucking manifesting problems 18 years after the fact.
Where we might be nearing the end of that tunnel. It could be possible. We'll see if there's a bit of catharsis at the end of this, or if it's just hollow emptiness.
Yeah.
Just to draw it back. So what we're at. So you were on the blower with Campbell. He tells you the whole information society thing. Naomi is being held in the base further in. Laughing Octopus, one of the B&B squad,
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Rears her
Oh,
head,
God.
her face resembling
Lord.
Snake's face, which is just weird because she's got an incredibly effeminate body with this old man face. It's just weird. And she's there's private military lads fighting and taking hostages, and she kills a few. But then who rears his head? Lads, would you believe it? It's the old sucky boy himself. It's Vamp. He's back.
Yeah, there's some questionable like imagery with regards to him. The latter half of this chapter where he has the fight with Raiden.
It's I don't have any problems with it, to be honest. I think it's so utterly over the top. I'm like, yeah, I'm on board.
I don't have a problem with this either, but like I'm just going to hone in on one particular bit. So the fact that the two of them can have the fight that in the manner that they do, like this really acrobatic kind of superhuman, where like at one point Raiden is like swinging two of the geckos around with his legs and then like cuts them loose, and a big acrobatic fight ensues with Vamp. They're stabbing each other numerous times, but these are two superhumans, and as we mentioned already, the superhumans, there has been superhumans in this game since the word go. I don't have a problem with this because it's like it's consistent with its own internal logic that both these characters are superhumans. It's when other characters start doing this shit, like in, say, the Twin Snakes, where Snake is essentially doing superhuman shit, like backflipping onto a rocket in midair, surfing on the rocket, and then firing off another rocket and taking down the Hind D, all this kind of shit, that's when it's like completely ridiculous. As far as I'm concerned, it's totally fair enough for these characters to be fighting in this way.
It is also just incredibly enjoyable to watch because it's so utterly over the top. You can't help but love it. And you got all these fucking mooing geckos dropping in trying to get right, and he's just slicing through them.
Yeah. But you see, like moments like this, people will say, how are you okay with this and not some of the later stuff? But like as I mentioned before, the game is still following its own internal logic fairly well, insofar as Vamp was depicted as a superhuman vampire and was highly acrobatic in the events of Metal Gear Solid 2. He could even run in water and stuff. And this game seems to go, like, because Metal Gear 2 is ambiguous as to what's real and what isn't real. And moments like that were considered to be some of the more, like, moments that were probably in Raiden's head and part of the simulation and all this kind of thing. But this game seems to canonize the interpretation that is, no, it was all real, and Vamp is the way he is because of nanomachines and all the rest. But whatever about that, it is tonally consistent with everything that came before, because you had Raiden is a cyborg ninja now, and we had a cyborg ninja in the game before who was also had superhuman strength. He could hold up the leg of Metal Gear Rex and resist being crushed by the force of this fucking 50-foot robot.
Fox is more deadly than a jackal.
Yeah. So if we are to assume that
same logic applies here.
Yeah, the type of cyborg that Raiden is comparable, maybe even superior in some respects to the earlier version that was Grey Fox. Well, then it's consistent with its own internal logic. It's fair enough. There's no jumping the gun here. The fight, as bombastic as it is, I wouldn't even consider it to be over the top. It could be considered over the top from a stylistic point of view, and that's fair enough. That's open to interpretation. But it is consistent with the rules that the game has laid out in prior games. So, whatever, I was totally on board. But the little bit that I wanted to hone in on was at one point in it when Vamp has wounded Raiden quite severely. I think they take off in the chopper and Raiden kind of flees because he's, losing loads of blood, but he's got this artificial white blood. But there's a bit where it cuts to Vamp and he's licking Raiden's white blood off the tip of his knife. And when you consider the backstory and the lore for the character of Vamp, who is a flamenco dancing bisexual vampire, and you take that into consideration when you think someone purposely constructed this shot where he's licking Raiden's white blood off the tip of his blade, and you're like, that can't be an accident.
Might as well face it, you're addicted to knob.
Yeah. I'll try. I'll surely have that clip saved. I'll drop it in
Definitely.
here somewhere.
Knob.
You dirty tramp.
But, yeah, the whole scene it's just so insane. I love it. You just it's what lent itself into a Metal Gear Rising. As you went, let's just do that, but the whole game. It's like, yep, fantastic.
See, Metal Gear Rising is such a good response to this game because the state of the world that this game is left in when all is said and done is so bombastically fucking ridiculous. Like, I mean, the game throws its own internal logic straight out the fucking window, and we kind of go into some kind of like fever dream territory almost. There was no logical way to go if you were going to follow on with the game set like chronologically after the events of this game. There was nowhere else to go but up. And I love the mission statement. Like, some people say, oh, do you not like Rising then? No, I love Rising because Rising is almost like a satire of this game, and where it takes it was the only logical place that you could go with a universe that's left in the state it's in by the end of the events of this game. So for that reason, I fucking adore Rising. And
it's also just a class game with great music.
Yeah. It plays really good. It's got a brilliant soundtrack. There is a lot of kind of satire in it, like nods and winks and kind of stuff where it's kind of jabbing at Metal Gear and loads of different aspects of it that came before, but it's all in such good faith, and it's like it's satire, but it's not cynical. It's fucking
it's just fun. God damn it, it's just such a fun game. It's got one of the best villains ever, who's only in it for like 10 minutes, but he left such an impression on the whole world.
Yeah, he's like a walking meme factory. Like,
nice
the amount of
knife
memes that have. Yeah.
Also,
the amount of, like,
I think I mentioned
memes that have sprung up.
what's it called? The fellow who voices Mimir in God of War. And people,
is that him?
Yeah, I think during like an interview
Class.
about him, people were inquiring about the God of War, and then I think they brought up Metal Gear Rising, and he was like, I was that guy for like 10 minutes. I didn't think at all anyone would remember him. It's like, oh, they do. They really do. You're so cute.
Yeah. And furthermore, that game, like, it didn't get the appreciation that it deserved straight away. It was as time went on, like, that game kind of developed its own cult following. It kind of flew under the radar when it was released. No one was really talking about it. I remember playing it, and I absolutely loved it. And I was kind of beside myself, kind of going, why is nobody talking about this? But as time went on and more people played it, I don't know, maybe people dismiss it maybe because it was like a hack and slash with a Metal Gear name made by a different developer, published by Konami. I don't know what the thing was, or was it just not very well advertised, but it didn't seem
when did it come out? Do you know?
2013.
2013. Oh, Jesus, yeah. I think I was rather unfamiliar with it even as I started playing the Metal Gear series. But how I discovered was people posting memes about it, because a lot of these Discord servers, I mean, and even the internet, they just seem to have a random time where everyone just decides it's Metal Gear Rising month. Start posting memes now.
Yeah.
It's just Armstrong running towards the camera, fucking punting, riding. It's like, what is this? Holy shit! I need to find this game now. What the fuck?
Yeah, and I remember like 3 years before Trump was elected, Senator Armstrong came out with the statement, "We'll make America great again."
Yeah.
You want to know
So
why? I have a dream.
That one day, every person in this nation would be controlled in his own destiny. The law.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing to find out that Trump actually got that slogan from Senator Armstrong. That would be amazing.
The law should bend to suit the individual, and not the other way around. Oh, what a fucking class. Why won't you die?
Nanomachines, son.
Oh,
That's it. That's the kind of satirical element of it, where it's like, oh well, if everything else can be explained away with nanomachines, I can basically do whatever I want and justify it with nanomachines, and that's so on the money. Like,
that's a nice
the
argument.
game actively takes the piss out of like nanomachines were always a thing, but predominantly Metal Gear Solid 4, because it is literally the explanation to most things.
That's enough about Metal Gear Rising anyway. If you haven't played that, go play that. That's an enjoyable game.
Yeah,
to play.
that's
Don't play this.
top shelf.
Don't play this game.
Well, I would say that they almost come as a package because you need to be familiar with the thing that's being satired
Nah,
to appreciate the satire. So
maybe a little bit. Watch a walkthrough. Don't buy it.
yeah, yeah, like consume this in some manner in order to appreciate what comes later.
So just to reel it back once again, Laughing Octopus Razorhead, Famp is back. Remember that he killed Emma Emmerich from 2. That was him. He's the one who killed her, poor bastard. Hal says,
Yeah.
stay focused on the mission, ignore the local conflicts, but if you get involved, it could tip conditions in your favor. So this leans back into one of the gameplay elements that we mentioned before, where you can fight on alongside the rebels and help them, which I think it'll tip things in your favor. It might open up a new path or something, or you'll just have allies.
Well,
it's not really worth any investment. I never did it when I played. I didn't give a shit. I just went around them.
the idea of that is really good and it's really interesting because you had like other mechanics in, say, Metal Gear Solid 3, like the whole system where you had to subsist on the local flora and fauna and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you had to fill up your kind of subsistence meter, your food and that, and you had to keep that topped up. And that was a cool little sub mechanic, and it was also interesting because there was an achievement in the game that you could unlock in subsequent releases, like for the Master Collection and all that, for capturing like one of every type of everything, and there was a kind of a little mini game element to that. And that was cool. That was just another nice thing to do in that world if you loved the game and just wanted an excuse to keep playing it.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, you've got the psych meter, and that's
something I'm going to get into now because that comes up here as your
rubbish.
You know, if you're going through South America, unspecified location, you get contacted by Campbell once again, who puts you onto Rose, who serves as your psychological counselor. Because if there's one thing Snake needs after all this time and what he's gone through, and is perfectly fine just smoking away, and is a counselor. This is this thing that never really had any impact in my gameplay. I think it's permanent depending on the difficulty that you pick. I don't really know. I was like watching some guy play it, and he was just lying down, and it went up, and then he fought, and then it went down. It seems broken or unfinished. I'm not entirely sure, but it was inconsequential as far as I'm concerned.
Well, like I was playing it today now, and like I said, I was running and gunning through everything. I was making some effort to put in with the militia because I think that mechanic is a really good idea. The problem is it's not fleshed out and realized in any type of satisfying way. Like in the first chapter, if you like are shooting enemy soldiers and that, they'll side with you, and if you don't shoot at them, you can make enemies of them as well. It's unadvisable to do so because I don't think you can have the PMCs on your side no matter what. They'll shoot you no matter what because they're controlled by the system and all the rest. So you can either fight a war on two fronts or on one, and if you at least have them on your side, at very least they won't be shooting at you. So I was putting in with them insofar as that's concerned. But there was one point during the South Africa section where there's a section where they're trying to take this building. Did I say yeah, America, sorry. So yeah, there's a section where they're trying to take this building, and you can get up, take out a few snipers, and you've got like the high ground, and you've got a mortar. And I got on the mortar, and I just started like shelling the enemy soldiers out of it to high heaven. And it was something that I did before, but I said I'd do it again just to capture the gameplay of it, where you can stay there forever and a day, and you could like shell enemies from above until the end of time. You can kill a small country worth of people, and they just keep coming, and the militia don't ever push forward. And it's like, it takes you out of it insofar as it becomes really apparent that it's all just set dressing for what Snake is up to, and they won't move a step forward into that base until you do yourself. And unless you step forward into it, enemies will just keep on spawning and are just endless cannon fodder. They're no problem killing them because, again, you have an infinite arsenal of whatever weapon you want, and as well as that, the mortar that you're on has infinite ammo, and you can keep shelling them until the end of time if you want. Arbitrarily, sometimes they'll spot you, but if they do spot you, there's no consequence to it. Nothing changes. You can just keep shelling them. They don't advance towards your position. They don't push past the militia. They don't send a chopper after you. And it's just like, what is the point? like there's actually no reason for me to engage with the mortar here and all this, because I can't meaningfully change anything in my favor by doing this. It's just a hollow piece of, oh, you can do this if you want, but it's largely inconsequential. You can't really better your chances by doing it. You can't alter the way that the militia's conflict is going, because either side, I think, just keeps on respawning, and it's like very transparently just set dressing. And you know, it would be nice if there was a bit more agency from the soldiers, and the conflict would play out in whatever way. Ultimately, the narrative has you sneak past them, and they'll just keep fighting until the end of time, and nothing will really progress one way or another, and you just effectively walk past it, do your best to ignore it, engage with it if you want, but there's nothing to be gained from doing it, and it's kind of a bit of a shame. I don't know, you could have done something interesting with that, but it's a mechanic that,
but it was like
on
something
paper,
that
is really
they
good.
advertised, like it was this revolutionary idea for their game, yet it feels incomplete from people who've engaged with it. Like, I didn't bother personally. I was like, look, I'm just going to go through the story. But from that, like, I've seen little bits and pieces where I think, you know, they move forward, I think, in the first act, and they're friendly towards you, and it reduces the combat for yourself, so there's reward in that kind of sense. But
yeah, but you could effectively just ignore it and not pay it any mind at all, and as you did when you were playing it, and just like walk on through, like whether or not, say, you're on the side of the militia and they're shooting at enemies alongside you, it's largely inconsequential, because
it's also only the first 2 acts it does that, isn't it? They don't do it beyond that.
Yeah.
So it's just a waste of a fucking system.
Yeah, that's it. And it's part of the reason, even though it's not a fully baked mechanic and is, as I said before, largely inconsequential to what's going on, at least it's, you know, when you compare it to the chapter that follows this one, the one where it's the entire chapter basically is like a tailing mission. Well, then, by like relative to that, there's a lot more going on in this chapter than,
I mean,
it's
definitely an interesting idea, and it might have helped made the environment a bit more memorable if it was fleshed out a bit more. Like if it was just, I don't know, just anything, but it was just a touched upon idea that could be easily ignored, and even when engaged with, is largely inconsequential. It's just something for you to do if you'd like or not. It's just there.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, today I was enjoying myself, I will say, but it was just like I spent a couple of hours in that chapter just like gunning down like the vehicles, shooting lads, just to kind of amuse myself. But like, you know, I hung around in that little sandbox and kind of engaged with the systems as much as what you can, and it was largely just inconsequential, like insofar as, you know, if you want to float around and meaninglessly shoot at lads for a couple of hours in any of the sandboxes, you can do that. There's no benefit to doing it.
You're not even like rewarded for wiping out all the enemies and then just having like a blank. Even something like that, just like you've actually killed everything. Did you know that?
There's no even sense of progression, because they'll just keep spawning. I ran through the facility just gunning lads down left, right, and center. Now I've played it the other way too, where I like sneak through, and you know it's fine. Like, but I don't know. It just seems like there's missed opportunity there that you could have, like, even if the enemy AI was better, and like say the stakes were if they caught you and they were actively pursuing you, that you would be under a lot more pressure. I found if ever I was spotted, and I was getting spotted frequently because I wasn't really trying, I still wasn't under any pressure, because again, I have an arsenal of infinite weapons that I can reload through a pause menu. I was just gunning fellas down left, right, and center. I was quite literally a one-man army. You wouldn't get away with that in Metal Gear Solid 3. You'd be fucking killed.
Yeah.
You couldn't outlast them, like you could, but you can in this. You can literally shoot away the alert sequences.
There's no consequences at all in this game.
Yeah, that's it as well. And furthermore, just breaking the immersion of it in the 2 chapters where you have that system where you can engage with the militia or not. It does this thing where you're in an active war zone and there's like explosions and gunfire everywhere. But if you, Snake, take out a gun and pull the trigger, all of a sudden everyone is like upset about it.
Hold on now. What are you doing?
Are you joking me? Like, the game really shows its hand where it's not even pretending like this is an actual real lived in world. It becomes very apparent that everything is set dressing for the game. And every game is like that, but they dress it up better.
Yeah, the whole thing is about creating a convincing
illusion,
a convincing illusion.
And a kind of an immersive world where there is a living and breathing world around you. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 did a really good job of that, where you've got all the characters going around. Like, I mean, I think there's even lads like building stuff.
Yeah,
and if you leave them at it long enough, they'll actually build the fucking thing.
Well, I think it's if you play as John Lennon come back, half the stuff is built, and all the NPCs that you may have run into have all aged and so on and so forth. I'm actually streaming that at the moment. It's a lot of fun, but I've got a crowd control element, so people can absolutely just spoil and ruin my game, which is great fun.
Tremendous.
Anyway, back to this. We'll roll it back. So yeah, that's the environment thing. That's something they advertise. Not really great. It's inconsequential largely. So what was it? So puts on the Rosemary to serve as your psychological counselor. Contacting her helps with your psych gauge, which is the system we talked about before, which once again seems inconsequential. Apparently, if it goes up, your aim is a little shaky. I never felt any impact from it, so it seems inconsequential once again. Snake.
It's tedious. It's tedious now. But today I was using the sniper and I was kind of shooting lads. And it wasn't that it was preventing me from doing so in a way that I had to like rethink my strategy. It just made it a little bit more tedious because the scope is swaying around a small bit because your sight is gone. And it's just annoying. You can find items that will replenish your sight gauge somewhat. And
smoking.
Just eat through a whack of them and, or smoke some fags or whatever. But in any case, you're not short of ammo, so you can just, like, say, with that sniper rifle I've mentioned, the M14 ERB, whatever it is, that's also a fully automatic rifle. So, like I said, it's an all-purpose weapon. So accuracy need not worry you. You can just spray the fucker with bullets and you'll get him. So it kind of invalidates the downsides of having a low sight gauge.
So that is effectively Rose. Like, first off, I'm not sure why Rosemary is acting as a psychological counselor, and I can't quite remember what her position was in 2. But
well, again, it's the same thing. Like, the plot needs her to be psychological analyzer, so she is one.
Yeah.
Much in the same way it needed Sunny to be a genius, so she is one.
There you go. There's your explanation. She just is one because the plot demanded it. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
That's it. Campbell takes back over, and Snake points out to Campbell is married to Rose, which is Jack's girl. You dirty old bugger. Which he recounts, ain't I lucky, Snake says Raiden saved Sonny from the Patriots. So this is something I think I looked up because I was like, how did Raiden become a cyborg again? So apparently he went on a rescue mission for Sonny, but also to retrieve the body of Big Boss for Big Mama, a character to come back later. And they captured him and then experimented on him, and then he got rescued. So that's why he's apparently a cyborg.
That whole thing, like,
captured by the Patriots, I should say, if I didn't specify that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure where that information comes from. Like, the game doesn't give it to you.
That is true, but that's the thing as well. Is like, where is this actually coming from? Who said this? And I think somebody said it was like a booklet or something. I'm like, is it in the game? Is it specified anywhere?
It's not in the game.
No.
The last time we saw Raiden at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, he was just a regular man. But in the time between the events of 2 and this one, he has now become a cyborg ninja. And nobody questions it at all. I was actually chatting with someone in the comments for the last one of these that we made recently enough. And it was actually a criticism that he was making of the game that, like, there's a lot of this kind of stuff that goes on with character interactions and stuff, just in the same way that there's very little said between Solidus and Raiden, even though they've got this traumatic backstory that links them together. When they're on screen, you'd hardly know it because they don't really say much of anything about it. And this game is very guilty of that because, this man who was a regular man is now a cyborg ninja, and nobody begs the question, Raiden, why are you a cyborg ninja now, actually? You were just some lad last time
I can't seem to find a source. It's just like on the wiki and it just says that, but it doesn't seem to say where it's actually from. it just says that's what happened. It's like, but who said this? Is this fan fiction or is it canon? Who's
It might be like a comic book or something like that. Some piece of supplementary material.
now in this game? Snake says Raiden saved Sonny from the Patriots, but I don't think at all it's mentioned that. And then he got turned into a cyborg. None of that is mentioned. Nothing.
Yeah, and furthermore, if we take it for granted that is the backstory and the explanation as to why Raiden is a cyborg ninja, it begs the question: why did the Patriots turn him into a cyborg ninja?
I don't know.
And the explanation is this game needed there to be a cyborg ninja.
There you go.
That's the explanation for it.
Why is Rosemary a psychological analyst? Because she has to be a psychological analyst. Why is Sonny a child genius? They need a child genius.
Yes, in reality, the explanation for it is I think this is the way I read it anyways, so God only knows. But my read of it is like it was Kojima's response to people's opinion about Raiden in Metal Gear Solid 2, because they really didn't like him, and it was one of the things that they heavily criticized about the game, was that, you played the majority of it as Raiden, and they didn't like him, and a lot of people were giving out about Raiden. So in reality, it was Kojima going, you didn't like him, did you not? I'm going to turn him into the coolest motherfucker going, as almost like a middle finger to the people who didn't like him.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll change your tune now, kind of a thing.
Touching on that,
and fair enough.
to change the tune, what's his name? Quentin Flynn, the voice actor. He tries to deepen his voice to sound more cooler. It's just like,
yeah.
Snake,
Yeah,
are you there? It's just like, you alright? Are you smoking? Are you?
In some sense, like I can't deny how like cool he is as a cyborg ninja. He's pretty class.
And it works. He is cool.
It works, but in some sense, it also is a betrayal to the character, because in my opinion, I always really liked Raiden as a character. I thought his backstory was brilliant, and the more you delved into the calls with him and Rose from Metal Gear Solid 2, and the more information you got about how like twisted he is by his traumatic childhood as being raised as a child soldier by Solidus and all that, and how it manifested in the darker sides of how he was in that relationship, it's really like relatable to anyone who's had their own struggles and stuff. Now, granted, most people weren't child soldiers and that, but everyone has a cross to carry to some degree or another. And the fact that Raiden was so broken, and then you're hearing these accounts, like it's often the people that are romantically involved with these kind of broken people, they get the brunt of dealing with this fucking head case. And hearing his character developed through like Rose breaking down and kind of going, I broke into your room and there was nothing in your room. There was a bed and a desk, nothing on the walls. It was like your fucking hollow heart. And then like later in the game, you get the explanation as to why he is that way. Like Raiden was such a rich character.
I just want to say as well, that's my room. Like what's wrong with that?
What happened?
Nothing.
What happened, Ben?
Nothing. I was child soldier for the IRA. Okay. I don't see a problem with it. Fucking crazy old woman.
Did any of these RAM members, did any of them touch you inappropriately?
They touched me here.
And if not, why not?
I wasn't touchable enough, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But in any case, I always thought Raiden was a brilliant character, and he was really relatable.
I liked him. Yeah.
The fact that he played second fiddle to Snake in that game was part of why he was there. From his perspective, looking up to Snake as I refer to him as like the Achilles of the Metal Gear universe, and that is exactly what he is. And it really did something for Snake's character too. And their bond in it is fantastic, and their dynamic is brilliant. So in some ways, even though this cyborg ninja Raiden is cool, in other ways it's a betrayal of his character, because now he's largely like, a fucking an enemy edgelord. And
yeah, but the thing is,
it
goes further into almost character assassination by like telling us the follow-up story after the events of 2, which seems to almost wrap things up. He's become his own agent. Him and Rose meet face to face, and this one just kind of goes, what happened to him? Because he broke down. He actually just he went off the deep end again. It's like,
yeah.
So
actually,
everything that happened at the events of 2, he just lost his mind. Okay.
Yeah. That's it. Like we're just told, oh, don't mind the fact that he finally accepted and like integrated his shadow insofar as his dark past and his trauma, and he kind of, there's a wonderful character arc for Raiden, and he rises above his demons at the end of the game, and he decides that he is going to accept the reality that's in front of him, because that's all anyone can do, even though the events of the game have called the nature of reality into question. And he decides, even within this world that may or may not be real, with all of this subterfuge going on and the revelation that his relationship with this woman mightn't even be real, he ultimately concludes that, sure, what is real? I'm going to accept whatever it is that brings me some bit of joy in this terrible world, and I'm going to live as a happy man. That was the note that we signed off on, and then this game just decides, I know he actually lost the plot. It even says that Rose says at one point, oh yeah, he was kept coming home later and later, and when he did, he'd be pissed drunk. So
I think there's a mention that they were trying to have a kid anyway, and then the kid, they said they got lost.
They did have it, yeah.
To that, but they say they lost the kid, but that is not. It's spoiler alert. The child's fine. It's another stupid child, but it's also passing.
Because at the end of 2, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
What happened between you and Jack?
After the big shell incident, he became unstable. Memories began to resurface from his childhood when he fought for Solidus in the Liberian Civil War. And in the midst of all of that, the baby we had together, it hadn't even been born yet. Jack slowly stopped coming home. And when he did, he'd be dead drunk, sometimes covered in cuts and bruises. Roy was worried. He was Jack's commanding officer. But Jack just avoided him. I was all alone.
You are a liar.
But also just a tidbit there, a continuity error as well. Rose says, oh, well, Roy was worried because he was his commanding officer. He wasn't.
He wasn't.
What's revealed in 2 is that that's not Roy Campbell. So this presumed upon relationship, it doesn't exist.
I am over the moon that you brought that up now, because that's another bit that is just like,
there's people who tried to defend it. They're like, oh no, like he could have trained him before this mission. It's like, what are you talking about?
No, he couldn't. There is a line of dialogue in Metal Gear Solid 2 where, when Raiden is speaking to the Roy Campbell AI, he says to him, I've just remembered something. I've never met you in person.
That is right.
Not once.
Colonel, I just remembered something.
What?
That I've never met you in person. Not once.
Complete your mission according to the simulation.
Colonel, who are you?
No more questions. We have Rosemary.
What do you mean by that?
Over and out.
Not once. So you can't explain that away with saying, oh, beforehand. No, he is straight from the horse's mouth. He never met him in person.
And it makes no sense
ever.
After the fact that, he got in contact with him after that event. It's like, no, he didn't. There was no reason.
Why would he do that?
Yeah, why? There's no...
He was retired at that point. Like, and Foxhound was disbanded. And there would have literally been no reason for Roy Campbell to have been involved with Raiden simply in any capacity.
Vindicates the headcanon. Just once again, it's a fictional world. This doesn't exist. Metal Gear 4 isn't a real game. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, this is why the writing is akin to bad fan fiction. Because there's stuff there that is just in complete and utter discordance with the chronology of the games that come before. It makes the title of that Steak Bentley video all the more potent. Metal Gear Solid 4 was a mistake, and it absolutely was. If you couldn't follow this up properly, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, for everything we said about we've mentioned it all, which is kind of hitting the old beats again, but it's just like, it may have purposely have been sabotaged and so on and so forth. It's like, could you not have just left it off? You need to be that spiteful and that bitter if that's what happened. It's still seemingly massively up in the air here and there what's happening.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. It's all part of the mystery, the question. But that's another continuity error for that kind of thing. So to reel it back once again there now, so you get the call with Rosemary, so forth. And as you continue along the mission, you were actually contacted by the boy himself, Ryden. He contacts you, like I said, Quentin Flynn decided to put more of an etch on his voice to make it sound deeper, to fit that kind of edgy looking anime cyborg thing, and it's fine. I'm fine. I'm not knocking on it. I think it's okay. He warns you of troops up ahead, says he's at your side, and when Snake kind of refers to him as Jack, he simply states, "Jack is dead." and then he kind of cuts off. And at that point, the sun...
I am riding, Jack is dead, or something to that effect.
It's like, at that point, the sun comes out. Apparently, it's a point I made. The environment is quite ugly, apparently, is what I noted. Which it is. It's just ugly. The whole game itself is not very nice looking. And I think...
Well, I think the graphics are sublime, but what does hurt the
graphics look
is that...
good, but it's just ugly. It's just aesthetically just like brown and fucking poo-poo.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. There's the piss filter. So it does that yellowy filter, and it does look horrible. The color correction in it is not great.
Yeah, that's kind of here and there.
I'm sure someone will probably mod it out of the Master Collection version when it's released.
Well, they did that with Resi 5, the piss yellow filter, but
yeah, that was all the rage because they were released in the same year, 2008.
Yeah, that's kind of comparison to it.
So 2008, the year of the piss filter.
There you go. You move closer towards the base, a cutscene starts. Fucking shocker, reintroducing Drebin and his monkey as well, yeah, because
that sounds so hilarious. Reintroducing Drebin and his monkey.
But like, Snake is trying to have a smoke, and the monkey snatches the fag off Snake and starts smoking. So you got a little monkey going around smoking a fag and drinking a can of their version of cola.
It's called Narc.
Narc.
N-A-R-C. Yeah, N-A-R-C.
Narc. Yeah. So Snake is like, what are you doing here, And Drebin says, hey, look, I've been following you. Drebin's gathered info for Snake, retrieving info from nanos he jabbed Snake with. So this falls back to an earlier point I think I made in the last one, was why did he allow this strange man to jab him with a strange syringe without knowing what was inside it? And
that's another thing that's totally discordant with everything that's come before. Like in the original Metal Gear Solid, Snake was injected unknowingly with the Foxdie virus, and the Foxdie virus, it was totally ambiguous as to whether or not that virus was going to kill him. He strongly suspected that it was going to kill him, and it did kill Liquid. So it was on the cards that the result of getting an injection from someone in good faith was almost fatal to Solid Snake. And in this game, he decides to just let this guy jab him with the fucking with the syringe.
And a guy he does not know, he's not familiar with, and he's just like, oh, I'll do this for you. You can trust me. It's like, not a hope in hell would he do that.
Yeah, a strange man with a smoking monkey in the back of a van.
Well, you have me interested there. Jab away, my good man.
Yeah. The guy looks like Wesley Snipes from Demolition Man.
Demolition Man, yeah. Is that the one with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
No, it's Stallone.
Same haircut in that one as well.
Yeah. But it's one of those 80s movies. But the guy looks like that guy. What was his name? Was it Phoenix?
I don't know.
You can't remember. But in any case, he looks like that character. So you would imagine that given the shit that Snake had to go through, because of prior games with taking in good faith that the person injecting you with something was injecting you with something you could trust. That was proven wrong in the most spectacular fashion ever. Snake resists this one off of a strange man in the back of a van in South America with a smoking monkey. His only resistance to it is, at first he stops the injection, he goes, and how his skepticism is ultimately defeated is the strange man says, what's the matter? Are you afraid of needles? And then he goes, fuck it, go on, so I'll let you jab me.
Yeah.
It's just fucking, and the explanation being, the plot needed Snake to let himself be jabbed in this moment. Therefore, he did.
Yeah, it's completely and utterly contradictory to his character. But
Even
this
though
whole game
in
is
no
shite, so who cares?
In no fucking reality would he ever have allowed that to happen, given what happened before. Like, they should have at least come up with something where, there had to be some kind of a compromise. If you're not going to take the shot, blah, blah, blah. You could have wrote something into it. You could have made some bit of an effort to keep the character's internal logic consistent with itself. Like, fuck me.
But the thing is, to top that off,
that's not even close to the worst of it.
But the thing is, to top that off, Drebin admits that he was able to track him through the nanomachines, effectively confirming that, like, you shouldn't have done that. Now I'm following you.
Yeah, he already confirmed that, like, this guy, not alone shouldn't you have been trusting him in the first place, but he's already lied to you about what he injected you with. And now you're going to let him do it again, considering what's happened to you in the past.
You've got your husband. Your husband waving for you up in the Nomad, and you're getting jabbed by a man in the back of a van.
Your husband, you're doing fucking needles in the back of a van with a strange man with a smoking monkey, and you've got a husband and child waiting on you in the sky.
Is the thing's gotten that bad for you, Snake? Jesus, lad. There's help out there.
Well, I suppose actually, do you know something? I think I might have answered the question there. Considering the context of what's going on with this game, Snake has had no luck with the women, and he's had to resign himself to a life of rearing a very small, annoying child inside a fucking
a plane.
Yeah, inside a plane, jet setting around the world with his gay best friend. I mean, I suppose his internal logic is saying, fuck it, what's the worst?
If that isn't a setup for like a modern Netflix show, I don't know what is.
Yeah, the worst has already come to pass. So, if I'm lucky, I'll get AIDS off that needle. But,
the best is yet to come. I think not.
Yeah. Evidently not.
But, basically admitting I'm tracking you through the nanomachines and I've gathered info for you. He recounts the B&B Corp, which is the Beauty and Beast crew. Their objective is essentially to kill Snake. He goes on to say how gorgeous they are and how each of them suffered trauma and then turned them into what they're in now. So was it Laughing Octopus, Raging Raven, Crying Wolf, the Mantis. That's the one.
Screaming Mantis.
So they each later when you beat them, there's a fucking half-arsed little story behind why they're the way they are, and Drebin tells it. It's nothing. It's nothing at all. It's just so tacked on and just like so disconnected from Snake. Like he makes no connection or anything with the bosses, as opposed to excluding, I suppose, 3 for most of the lads' connection to the bosses. Like talking with them, interacting with them, instead of just coming and do, I'm Laughing Octopus, I laugh. All right, I'm Crying Wolf, I'm crying. It's like, okay.
Yeah, the thing about all the boss characters, less so in 3. I'll admit that, and I think I said that in the podcast we did on 3 that they're actually lacking in character a little bit. But this game takes that and like amplifies it up to 11, where say. The characters, they're just kind of like derivative, like one note kind of rehashes of enemies that came before. All they do is, Laughing Octopus is always laughing, Raging Raven is always angry, Crying Wolf is always crying, and funnily enough, Screaming Mantis, sorry, yeah, but they're all derivative of
character,
prior enemies.
The Foxhound unit from the first movie.
Foxhound unit. Drebin even refers to him in this as a
Snakehound. That's what I got there. So 4 BBs in total. Apparently Screaming Mantis is like the main one behind them all.
Controlling them, inherited the name and the abilities of Psycho Mantis. Apparently has psychic powers.
So what's this thing? Yeah, so they're gorgeous, so that leads to the whole beauty, and then the Beast Predators, they're twisted into what they are through their traumatic experiences.
Which again was that dirty bastard Kojima just having an excuse to like, I want to stick 4 supermodels into my game.
You seem to have a morbid fascination for necrophilia.
I do, I like women.
For necrophilia.
If you don't mind, I like women.
Necrophilia.
I love women. I'm mad about women.
I only just chucked on a game walkthrough there just to finish off like the last 20 minutes of the act. What does Naomi do? And she kicks off the old high heels to go barefoot. It's like, oh, of course, yeah, fucking did that. Well, you see, she can't. She can't be running high heels. Like, she's managed fine thus far. There was no need for that.
Yeah, that's fine. We can have all the acrobatic, like bombastic fights and mental shit. But oh no, she can't get into the back of the thing with her shoes on.
Says how gorgeous they are. Stuff from trauma. Says their natural bodies can't survive the open air. And what they've been told is that killing Snake will cleanse their minds. So that's apparently their incentive to hunt down and kill Snake.
Yeah, but you'd never know that because none of the characters actually interact with Snake in any meaningful fashion at all.
They don't know who Snake is. They've never seen him or interacted with him up until it's the boss fight.
Yeah, this is literally just something that's said, and you don't ever really see any of the consequences of that having been incorporated into the lore, because all they do is just scream their own, like, whatever emotion is associated with them. They just scream that, and then they die, and after they die, you get this real try-hard phone call from fucking Drebin, and he tells you the backstory of whatever respective member of the B&Bs that you've just dispatched. And it's this real, like, it's like the writing of a 12-year-old. Oh, they had it really horrible. They were in a village with all these soldiers, and the soldiers were raping and murdering everyone, and they were killing babies, and the crows were eating the babies, and all this kind of shit. And it's like, are you just fuck off, like, just go away from me, will ya? Gone are the days when the bosses had, like, backstories that you could get on board with, and like when you killed Sniper Wolf, and she tells you about her horrible
Literally,
past.
it's just about to bring it up because it's still... Because the music and everything, the selling just sells it. Just two soldiers. And she kind of tells her little story about her connection to Big Boss and how he saved her and such. And it's like, oh, damn.
Well, we are a long way from Canvas in this one, like, or Kansas rather, sorry.
From Canvas.
yeah.
Snake, can love bloom on a battlefield? No. Go home
and
have a toss.
Have a good old wank for yourself.
What was I saying there? Yeah, so they get into talks about the system in general. And Snake says no one is able to hack in the system and asks if Drebin is in the Patriots. To which Drebin replies, "You mean the lale lule," and then stops and begins to laugh and then pronounces Patriots, basically confirming that, like, no, I ain't no Patriot. I ain't no
that was another.
No.
That was another thing that was kind of inferred into, that they never outright said, but the inference is there, where because you were under control by these nanomachines, they'd alter, whenever anyone said the Patriots, what someone who, say, the nanomachines was affecting their perception, they would hear the words lale lule lo rather than Patriots. So this is kind of...
big example is the commander from Metal Gear 2. When the goes, oh, the Patriots, and he just goes, the lale lule lo.
Yeah. How is that possible? Yeah, that whole thing. So it's like, it's unclear as to who in that isn't allowed to hear the words the Patriots. But in any case, this game, like, confirms it. It definitely makes it a thing, because he makes a joke of that fact. He's letting on to Snake that he is a part of that system that won't allow him to actually hear. But then he kind of goes, I mean, I ain't no patriot. So he's like, haha, gotcha, cunt. So yeah, that was another thing, a kind of a payoff to a prior thing, which was fine, I suppose.
As Drebin recounts how everything is run by the system, a massive info processing system, and AI. And I can't remember if he's talking about just one kind of main AI thing that's just like no one can get into, can't be cracked. You need like a certain ID to get in.
You need a certain 5-year-old child who can just sort it out, because she's a fucking genius.
It's a good thing we got one of those back on the ship.
Yeah. Very, very fortunate for all involved that there was a 5-year-old with such abilities that just happened to be, the surrogate daughter of 2 incels.
So they have a little discussion there about the system, the AI, how breaking it down, impenetrable and so forth, and that's what Liquid's looking for. So you leave Jevon and carry on, and you get contacted by Raiden again. Snake asks where he's been. He says he's been on the mission looking for the body of Big Boss. This was a deal made in order to free Sonny. The person he's helping is known as Mata Pluko. Big Mama. She has Big Boss's body. And then she comes into play in the next act in. Then Snake contacts Rose, saying Raiden has been in contact. Rose asks Snake to keep her involvement out of it. Jesus, don't tell him I've been riding Raiden. Don't relay that information, please. It will kill him.
She does go on to say that, she's concerned about him, but she's also afraid of him. So the implication is that Jesus, if he knows that I'm riding the man that he thought he was like speaking to in his head for the duration of Metal Gear Solid 2, he might just flip.
But then that's the whole thing to draw back what we talked to was, so she recounts the events after Big Shell. After the whole affair, Jack became unstable, memories resurfacing about his involvement in the Liberian Civil War. Rose says her baby died prior to birth, so was apparently stillborn. Jack fell to despair, and sure enough, fell to the old drinking to all hours of the night, good man.
At that stage, I was drinking over a pint of vodka a day.
Yes!
Yes. All I could think about was where the next drink was coming from.
Drink!
I didn't give a damn about my wife, our kids.
Rose was worried that that his commanding officer, which he wasn't. Yeah, that's the whole thing about Roy. So then conversation ends. Snake carries on, reaching Naomi. So this is, finally reaches one of the characters now returning, all tanned out. Ain't no trace of tan on that woman. It's long gone, apparently. Which to
and she's lost her British accent is gone as well.
Yeah.
She's just got a kind of a generic kind of an accent now.
Which draws back to the point you made about the twin snakes being sighted. She doesn't have her accent in that one either, does she?
No, she doesn't. So it would seem that this game is canon with the non-canon version of events, and therefore should not be considered main canon.
Take that.
Yeah.
So she sneaks in. He sneaks in. She's on the blower with somebody, and she starts kind of struggling to stand, and that's when she jabs herself. So this is the first time you witness her giving herself an old jab.
Yep. Someone has to do it.
Yeah. Voiced by Jennifer Hale, returning all tanned out. Haven't seen you since Shadow Moses. 10 years? 9, says Snake. And then this is thing that this which this starts off with. She asks about Hal for some reason, some strange, like there's no, these two characters never had any interaction in the first one.
In the first game, no.
At all.
Not at all.
She's asking after him, which is, I suppose, fine. He's been Snake's buddy, so maybe it's just a question of throat. But it's not.
She's aware of his existence. Yeah, fair enough.
But where they're going with this is an atrocious thing of like another contrived. I wouldn't even call it romance. It's just they have to be riding each other because the plot wants them to ride each other, so we can have a little emotional moment later in the game, which doesn't deliver at all. He asks to know who you're talking to. She says Liquid, and during this cutscene, if you go into first person, you'll catch snippets of Laughing Octopus fucking slicking about the gaff outside. Snake asks what happened in the Middle East, and she explains. She says Liquid and her thought the SOP, the Sons of the Patriot system, was an ID control system designed primarily to maintain order and control in battle, and they were right, but only partially. SOP had another function, to control people's senses. The nanomachines and the soldiers adapt to different conditions, control their hormones, reducing panic and such. The war economy raised demands for soldiers, led to the development of better soldiers. So basically the system was designed to get to control and like put down human emotion. So what was released in the Middle East was essentially just like all the bottled up emotion that wasn't being registered came out all in one flow. So basically half of them were going mad.
It's kind of like what happens when you've been ritually smoking weed for years and then you stop, which is funny enough is like the kind of the idea behind the animation that I'm currently working on that might be done sometime this century.
Dougie, it's been done, don't worry.
Excellent. So yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like all these soldiers were akin to profound weed smeekers. Yeah, fucking hell. My language center in the brain is succumbing to the old cognitive decline. So yeah, so they're like weed smokers in that once they stop, they're all cracking up.
Yeah, so all the lads were just having withdrawals and smoking the old devil's cabbage, apparently. But she explains that Liquid's trying to get the system and all that. But Snake kind of comes to Naomi asking about, what the hell's going on with me. This is the whole thing of the accelerated aging, what's going on? Am I sick? And she's like, take off your clothes, it's fine. I'm a doctor. And this is...
Get your knob out.
Get your knob out! And this is our kind of first reveal of Snake at his most barest, just standing before her as just a withered... arguably still a fairly well in shape old man.
He's fucking ripped as fuck. Like, I mean,
shit. Fair play to him.
The game is framing it as if it's this terrible horror that the skin is falling off his body or something, but it's not at all that bad. He's like still in remarkably good shape. His muscles haven't degraded in any meaningful way. I mean, he's a little bit. The quality of his skin doesn't seem to be fantastic, but it's not nearly as fucking
The
horrendous
man
as.
has got a fine pair of traps. That's all I say. Okay, by God.
Yeah. There's very little wrong with him insofar as what I could see. Jesus, I wouldn't mind that kind of accelerated aging myself. Unfortunately, I just have regular accelerated aging.
Yeah, but Naomi kind of breaks down crying. She's just like staring basically at, oh jeez, look at this, like, my God, poor fucker. And she begins to perform experiments on him, talking about the first generation of nanomachines that are still within his body, taking blood samples and so forth. And this is drawn back once again what we jumped onto earlier.
Yeah, we covered all this earlier on,
this is the thing. But just to reiterate, the accelerated Asian it's by design. He was a weapon.
Did you just say accelerated Asian?
He's becoming Chinese as we speak. What? Naomi.
I think I'm turning
what?
Japanese. Japanese.
They really think so. Oh God, it's mutating in him. The whole thing. His thing is by design. He wasn't even meant to have a normal life. You're just a weapon. But to top off the bad news, the fox dye. Now I do like the callback to this. I think we already said that. Because it's like, oh, what about that thing that was in your body the whole time? It's like, oh, actually, it's still there, and it's now becoming. You're basically a walking nuke.
Indiscriminate.
You're a walking nuke.
You're going to start killing everyone unless you die first.
And so
the upshot.
I think Snake takes like a psyche hit as well. A lot of that happens sometimes during cutscenes where it.
Yeah, well, fair enough. He got some bad news.
Yeah, it feels a bit weird. It just kind of pops up his life bar and he goes, meow. It's like.
Yeah.
Is he sad by the news? No kidding.
It's like internally in Snake's head, he's just like, ah.
Yeah, so she basically relays the information. I can't get rid of fox dye. It's in your genetic code. And then I think she brings up about strange jabbings. She said, Snake, have you been jabbed by any men recently? What are you on about?
Have you been jabbed by any strange men in the back of vans with smoking monkeys by any chance?
That's incredibly specific, but also yes.
Yeah. So happens I have been, but how do you know that?
Fuck it rolls on the window. Drebin, you cunt!
Yeah. Is this a common occurrence in fucking South America? Like,
yeah. So she breaks down the whole thing about
it's part of the experience. Unless you've been jabbed by a strange man in the back of a van with a smoking monkey, you haven't had an experience.
Listen, listen, Snake. I would have given you half a year to live, but after that jab, I don't think you have long left to live.
Yeah. I love at the start of the whole thing, she's like looking at him. She actively tells him not to smoke the cigarette, but by the time she's told him everything, he goes to light it again. And she looks at him, and she just resigns to like, I'll let the man have his fag for fuck's sake. And Snake's like, yeah, I fucking thought as much. And he just lights up the fag, and it's like fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
What's this thing? A line she says, she can't slip free. You want to be free. She's drowned in. Yeah, she's going on about how she's drowned in the nanomachines in order to maintain her cancer, which seems to be doing the job. I'm not sure why.
Well, she doesn't actually let on that she has cancer at this point. She's just talking these fucking soliloquies about fucking not being able to break free of the chains of fate, and it's this fucking
so it's Snake feeding
real
her the line.
Hard shit.
Yeah, it's Snake feeding her the line. You said yourself we mustn't allow ourselves to be chained to fate, and then she goes on saying, "I can't slip free," which she does in about 5 minutes time. So that's neither here nor there. It's just like.
It's like, yes, Snake, but we're retconning all of the revelations of prior games because the plot of this game demands that we do so. So, no, I can't escape my fate, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so she kind of drops.
Even though that was the note we signed off in Metal Gear 1, but no, I take it all back.
I take it all back, actually. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
So he realizes she says that Liquid can't destroy the system without sacrificing soldiers. So instead, he's going to seize control and create the ultimate army of perfect soldiers and launch an insurrection against the Patriots, to which he calls Guns of the Patriots. Ho ho! It's the title of the game. Way.
Class.
At this point,
he said the thing.
Is it the frog? Is it the frog unit, or some lads go into
the frogs? Yeah.
Go into
normal PMCs, whisk her away, and then the frogs come in after the fact.
Also,
I'm so really unsure about them, just insofar as their design is concerned. Like they're cool enough. Later on, they become an absolute joke, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But like their eyes are really weird, and like they're female soldiers, and like when you shoot them, they turn into ash. I'm just like, I don't know what else to say about them other than
they exist.
What in the name of Jesus is going on with them? Like, you look at their eyes, and their eyes are like these two little red dots. Like, are we to believe that they're some kind of cyborg as well? I don't know. The game never really tells you. Or if it does in some codec call, I've never heard it, because the codec in this is terrible. You can ring up like Rosemary, and Rosemary will go, "Oh, hey, your psych gauge is low. You want to sort that out there?" That's her input.
Yeah, great. They show up to give you a fucking riding anyway, but also Laughing Octopus, which initiates the fight. But
the first proper boss fight. Yeah.
I think first you deal with the frogs, then she drops in, and you can deal with the boss similar to the previous entries, non-lethally or lethally. I think if you do non-lethally, she comes out of the suit and curls up into a little ball and whatever, it's very underwhelming. Once again, there's no challenge at all. You can replenish your bullets in mid-battle, which I did. There's no you did no ammo reservation. You don't get punished. This game doesn't really punish you. You're just.
I will say, out of all the boss fights, with the B&B unit, barring the very last one, which has its own gameplay mechanics that are unique to that fight, barring that, this is probably the best boss fight in the game. Or, again, in the same caveat, I would put the Metal Gear Ray and Metal Gear Rex fight, because that also has its own mechanics, and it's kind of unique and bespoke to that one sequence. So I'm kind of not counting them, but just in terms of the boss fights that take play using the regular gameplay dynamics, this is probably the best of them. And that's a sad indictment, really. Like, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's serviceable. There's some little gimmicks that it does that's like just really annoying and kind of time wasting, because it's very transparent, where it's seemingly trying to trick you by like taking the form of the Mark II at one point. It takes on Naomi's face, despite the fact that the rest of it hasn't changed, and it's been demonstrated ad nauseum that this thing can change its face. So there's no question as to whether or not you should shoot at it, and the game kind of acts as if maybe you should be perplexed by that, but no, not at all.
I don't think so.
It's fine. It's grand. It actually, I was playing it today, and I wasn't really paying much heed, and I paid the price because it did have one attack where it curls into a ball and rolls at you, and it does a remarkable amount of damage. I got caught by that a couple of times, and I was I did a bit of shouting and roaring at it because I was pissed off, because the game pisses me off anyway. So
it is. In any case, I would just call it,
out of all the boss fights, probably one of the better ones.
I'd call it.
And then we get the first sequence of, yes, it's exactly serviceable, but it does the first time. Then it does this with all the B&B unit, where they come out of their shell, and you get this thing where they follow you around the map, and they're trying to hug you, and for some reason the hug does damage. You have to shake them off and either kill them lethally or non-lethally. If you kill them non-lethally, I think you get there's some kind of collectible that you can pick up for doing so. But yeah, that mechanic, it's the same thing that plays out at the end of every one of these B&B fights, and it's something like really daft about it, and it comes back to what was Kojima thinking, and what Kojima was thinking was, well, I want to have a lash of supermodels in the game.
You seem to have a morbid fascination for necrophilia.
I do. I like women.
For necrophilia.
If you don't mind, I like women.
Necrophilia.
I love women. I'm mad about women.
And that's it.
And that's a point right there. money wasted once
If
again.
you
on
don't mind, I like
models.
women.
Supermodels.
If you don't mind, I like women.
Women of feet, especially their feet.
I love women.
I can't.
I'm mad about women.
I can't get enough of them.
I'm infatuated with women. I've been married 3 times. Yeah, well, sorry, just in case there's any confusion, that's a reference to something from the Irish Zeitgeist that I'll drop clips in of here.
No, we won't.
To further my point, but to the best of my knowledge, Kojima has only been married once and is still married. But yeah, neither here nor there.
But what's this? Yeah, she comes out of the shell as a sort of rebirth, I suppose. Her anyway, laughing octopus. She gawks up a load of what seems to be ink, I suppose. You know, she's an octopus, so why not?
An octopus, yeah.
And what she turns into then outside the suit is Laughing Beauty. And then she's falling around the map trying to hug you, and there's just screaming ambience in the background as you're dealing with her in any way you seem fit, lethally or non-lethally. And then she gives an old howl after death. Oh! Happy days. Curls up into a ball if you do it non-lethally, like I said. And then this is where Drebin drops the old feckin', oh, here's her little sad backstory. She was in this village and, whatever. Who cares?
Scandinavian village. Soldiers came, killed everyone, something about a dying baby. Now she's always laughing. Killed a lot of people. Horrendous backstory and blah. We're going to get that same loop with all of these bosses, and it's cringy, and it's try hard, and it's overbearing, and it's rubbish.
It's crap.
These aren't characters. These are just derivative excuses for Kojima to bring good-looking women onto the set of whatever he's working on, because he's a dirty bastard.
Because he's a dirty, dirty article. That's what he is now and forever.
He's a dirty.
As you're transversing across the plains, chasing after Naomi, she's being escorted onto a helicopter by old Sucky Boy himself and a couple of guards. And it's here he goes on the blower with liquid, and he wants to fire off that yoke again as a test. And while he's on the blower, Snake takes a shot at Vamp and shoots him in the head. And
Nails him.
And Vamp, in perfect fashion, does a lovely little spin with the phone flying out of his hand, to which he graciously cashes again, while there's a big bullet hole in his head, and finishes off the conversation while leaning back. He's like I don't know what the fuck you call it, but he basically conks out and temporarily
he's on his haunches, like.
Yeah.
That
thing.
One thing I like about that scene. One thing I like about that scene is how indicative it is of the time in which it was created, because what Vamp is using is like a flip up phone, and it's like fucking deadly. Flip up phones were still a thing then, class.
Yeah, in the far future, which 2014 or 2012?
2014.
Yeah.
It was set in 2014. Released in 2008.
Yeah, so Liquid has that yoke set off again, which causes the soldiers to lose their mind once again, and also Snake. But Naomi had given him a nano. Is it a nanomachine suppressor?
The Jab Master 5000.
There you go. It's the new vape. Yeah. Took a vape off it and just these all good.
Yeah, that's another thing that seems to be. It seems to do whatever the plot requires at any given time. It's like on paper they tell you what it is, but you see it at various points of the game being used for like different applications, and people like say
it stops her cancer. It suppresses nano. It's like this is the really kind of answer to all things, isn't it?
Yeah, it stops her cancer in one scene, and in another scene it suppresses nanomachines. And if it suppresses nanomachines, does that not lead one to believe that it should inhibit nanomachines from doing their job and keeping you alive? But seemingly no. And then later on in the boss fight with Liquid Ocelot, the two lads start jabbing themselves like with the thing, even fighting over it, and then jabbing one another with it.
There's a lot of lads jabbing each other in this. Maybe we looked at it in the wrong light.
There's a whole lot of jabbing going on.
Jabbing, because we're jabbing.
And I hope you like jabbing too.
So, what happens? Yeah, so the thing goes off, all the soldiers lose their mind. And for some reason, the helicopter is just hovering there instead of taking off. It's just in place, allowing Naomi to make a quick escape on Drebin's anti-fucking tank vehicle or whatever.
Trevin's jabbing van.
Yeah, the jab van. It just... So yeah, the helicopter just continues to hover there. She jumps off onto it, so she's saved, and then he goes over to pick up Snake, which leads to this kind of, I suppose, a short little on-rails shooter thing, once again. The monkey gives Naomi a can of Coke, or a can of Narc, sorry. That's just sort of... You're shooting down geckos, you're shooting down people. It's very arcadey, boringish looking. All of a sudden, these geckos there were proven to be incredibly dangerous to engage in, are just being mowed down by this gun, which is, you know, I know it's powerful.
The mounted gun seems to trivialize them, all right.
Yeah.
But you know, whatever. I'm willing to take for granted that the gun is super powerful.
Yeah.
You shoot down a big metal door with it and drive through it, and ultimately land at the village. And that's where we get the face-off between Raiden and Vamp. We sang that song already. I don't know, is there anything left to say about that?
He's wearing a big lovely brown coat for some reason. Looks cool.
He is, and there's one thing there, and I was paying like special attention to it today, where it's one thing that's kind of, you could normally explain it away with, Vamp is just a flamboyant character, and fair enough. But once the game has, is starting to lean more and more into the flamboyancy of everything, you're kind of like, I don't know, there's only so much excusing this I can do. But at one point you see Vamp, and he's doing this weird thing where he's like doing this big twirl in between all the legs of the gecko, and it's just really unnecessary. But I suppose it's not out of step with who Vamp is, I guess. But when you just tally it with everything else, you're kind of like, lads, you need to be backing off on the flamboyancy and the cringe a bit.
I completely disagree. I think it's just enough. I think it's perfect. It fits the whole thing perfectly, because there's that scene where Raiden is being hooked by the two geckos, and he starts break dancing is the best way I can describe it, and he's spinning the geckos over his head, and Vamp is like within the trajectory. And instead of stepping out of it, he's like dancing and bobbing and weaving with it, and it just looks so silly. It's like, this is great. I want more of this.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's unforgivable, because, as I said, it is in step with who Vamp is and Vamp's abilities. It doesn't jump the shark in that sense. But I'm just saying the entire game has so much cringe and flamboyancy in it that I'm like, you should have spared your cringe credits for moments like this, and maybe not had so much more cringe in the rest of the game as well. I'm just saying, at the end of everything, when you're tallying up all the cringe at the end of the day, you should have spared, you should have used your allotted amount of cringe sparingly in moments like this, where it's somehow in step with these bombastic characters, where, so the moment in and of itself is fine, but in an affair where you're getting jabbed in the back of a van by a strange man with a smoking monkey, and there's a genius 5-year-old that's going to fix everything, and Raiden is going to show up at some point with a sword in his mouth that can summon lightning from the interior of a submarine. Once you've all this shit going on, it's boiling over the top. Is
I
my point.
agree, but I say fuck it, go full send, just go for it. Like, I think one thing you pointed out, which I didn't cop onto until after we finished the playthrough, was he has no arms showing up with the sword in his mouth, and he's communicating through the nanomachines with the coat on. And I thought nothing of it, and we were talking about how ridiculous it is, and then you just went, sure, who put the coat on him?
Yeah, he clearly at some point got up, and somebody said, Raiden, you've got no arms. Here, let me put this coat on you. like that's going to fucking help matters. Or what else happened? Or did he get up and say, lads, will someone put the coat on me, please? And if so, why?
But that fight as well, he's holding the fucking sword with his little high heel shoes. I don't know what the fuck that's about.
Yeah, with the high heels and in his mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's somehow summoning lightning. He's Raiden, the god of thunder now, apparently.
Fucking Jesus. Yeah, they blast out and fight, duke it out, and Naomi gets on the helicopter, and then all of a sudden herself and Hal fucking share a glance, and it's just, go away, man. Fuck off with this shit. Like, I hated it. It's this whole thing of, they made a little connection. They didn't. This is just contrived. Go away. And this is where, what's her fucking face? Naomi drops the knowledge of why Vamp is the way he is. And would you fucking believe it? It's nanomachines. Because of course
he's not actually
it
a vampire,
is.
it's nanomachines. Because, what else could possibly explain that and everything else away? Fucking nanomachines. You know, calling back to the satire that comes later in Metal Gear Rising, where fucking Armstrong shamelessly comes out, nanomachines, son. It's a blatant response to this kind of lazy Deus Ex Machina that is nanomachines. And that's brilliant. By definition, the satire of it is like it's almost worth the contrivance having happened. So we got that meme.
Yeah,
brilliant.
But so what we get here lore wise is that a Vamp is effectively, in a sense, as she says, Naomi's creation, because she was researching with the nanomachines and like replenishing yada yada yada. Basically, it's her fault that he's just
Because the plot demanded that to be the case, to tie Naomi's story to Vamp's, because we have to wrap up everyone's story, so why not just tie them all together?
But something crucial here is that Raiden is fatally injured, and he needs a blood transfusion, but he has artificial blood. And he talks about a doctor who I think is present in the first Metal Gear or Metal Gear 2.
Is it Dr. Marv, is it? Or is it...
Markab
I
or
can't remember.
some shit.
Magnar. Dr. Magnar.
Yeah,
Dr. Magnar, that's him.
So they fly away anyway, and that's where Raiden says, "Oh look," he kind of spits blood and goes, "Snake, Europe." It's like, oh, okay.
It's like Raiden. Europe's quite big, actually. You're gonna need to be a little bit more specific than that. Like, there's a lot of places in Europe. Are we going to France? Are we going to Italy?
Eastern Europe. Does that narrow it down? Slightly, but there's still a couple of countries there in the way.
Yeah. Might take us a while to narrow it down, but sure, we can give a spin over there, have a look.
So this kind of leads towards near the end of this act.
I had massive trepidation about coming back to this time, but I've had great crack.
Yeah.
Tearing it asunder. So we might, regardless of how well this does, because going on the last one, it won't do well. And fine. And funnily enough, the last video was my most disliked video of all, because it would seem people violently disagree, which is fine. I couldn't care less. Like I said, if you enjoy this, don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Myself and Benny are having the crack.
Yeah,
and
I stand by everything I say. It's very hard. Like, I'm willing to change my opinion off the matter, but every time I come back to look at the walkthrough just to get kind of studied up, I just hate it more and more. It's like, oh yeah, this really does suck, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's going to be a new generation of Glazers now as soon as it gets released again. Now, I might be pleasantly surprised, and people might kind of go, lads, what were you talking about? This was should have stayed where you left it, but I highly doubt that'll happen.
We'll see.
But in any case, it's inconsequential. Again, if you like this, power to you and flog away. But myself and himself evidently don't, and we're having fun talking about why. So we might tackle Act 3, 4, and the end of it in a final one, if indeed it happens. Because I won't say if this does well, because it won't do well. But whatever. We've had a ball making it, and I hope you have at least gotten something out of it. Maybe it wasn't joy, maybe it was just, I don't know, pair of daft voices in the background, so as you don't feel quite as lonely. If it's just that, fine.
We like you.
Look,
thanks for listening. You're
special. we're your surrogate internet friends. But in any case, I personally had a blast chatting about this, even though I'm talking about something I fucking hate. But like playing the game again to refresh myself, I still really don't like it. But I do really enjoy having these chats, and they're great crack.
Absolutely. This is great crack, and we'll be back. You better believe we'll be back for the next one in 6 months' time.
All going well.
It's all planned ahead.
Yeah. Right. I'll edit this in as timely a fashion as I can, and that might be 6 months. So, yeah, in any case, we will see you hopefully in the next one.
We're going to wrap everything up here for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening. If you've got to this end, drop an old "You're fairly grand, hey." Let us know you reached the end. A classic old line.
You're fairly grand, hey. Or else reference a man getting jabbed in the back of a van with a smoking monkey.
Yes, say that.
Reference that, yeah.
Say I got jabbed in the back of a van by a man
with a smoking
monkey. Just say that. Put that on a t-shirt.
Stick that in a fucking t-shirt is right, yeah. Jeez, that would be good merch if ever I was of a mind to make fucking merch.
Fuck it, cut that out. Lads, it's TM, it's trademarked. Don't you dare, it's our idea.
Yeah, I've seen Ducky's Gay Tuesday shirts around. God almighty, it would be a surreal experience to see someone wearing a shirt of my design that said, "I've been jabbed by a man in the back of a van with a smoking monkey."
Perfect.
That would be class.
There you go.
Yeah, so, right, on that note, get your bag.
And baggage. And fuck off!
You are a liar.